You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. As Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. Vice President Joe Biden certainly has a message for Donald Trump. You can't fix the economy without fixing the public health crisis.
Early January, Donald Trump is first warned of the virus. He ignores it.
We have it totally under control. It's going to be just fine.
Defends the Chinese government instead. January 30th, Trump's own cabinet secretary warns of a pandemic, raising concerns that the Chinese government isn't being transparent. Trump calls him an alarmist.
We think we have it very well under control. We're working very closely with China and other countries, and we think it's going to have a very good ending for us.
The next day, the Dow plummets 600 points. Desperate to protect the stock market from sliding further, Trump continues to deny the threat and praise the Chinese government.
We're doing great in our country. China, I spoke with President Xi, and they're working very, very hard, and I think it's going to all work out fine. Looks like by April, in theory, when it gets a little warmer, it miraculously goes away.
But global cases more than double, spreading to over 24 countries. February 25th, one of the CDC's top experts, Nancy Messonnier, speaks out, warning it could soon become a full-scale pandemic.
Disruption to everyday life may be severe, and I told my children that while I didn't think that they were at risk right now, we as a family need to be preparing for significant disruption of our lives.
Mr. Trump was, quote, furious as he watched the stock market crash after her comments. Trump didn't want to upset the markets. So for the last 5 days of February, the Trump administration took to the airwaves to deny the truth.
We have contained this, I won't say airtight, but pretty close to airtight.
Thanks to the president and this team's aggressive containment efforts, this disease, as Dr. Shook had said, is contained.
February 27th, the market sees through the denials. The Dow continues to plunge, but Trump keeps up the false message.
It will go away. Just stay calm. It will go away. I think we're going to get through it very well.
April turns into May. The virus doesn't disappear. There is no miracle. The cases mount. The death toll grows. More than 33 million Americans lose their jobs to the pandemic. Unemployment reaches Great Depression-era levels. Donald Trump doesn't understand. We have an economic crisis because we have a public health crisis. And we have a public health crisis because he refused to act. Donald Trump didn't build a great economy. His failure to lead destroyed one.
Wow, Amisha, bottom line is this here. You look at Trump's poll numbers, that ad directly correlates with what we're seeing in those numbers. This White House cannot act as if everything is all rosy. And so he better pay attention, which is why Jared Kushner is trying to bring in his own person. He's thinking about bringing Corey Lewandowski back. They realize there is a problem, and you can't look at anybody else but the mirror.
Absolutely. That ad was pure hot fire. It's going to be very difficult for President Trump to be able to win back the states that he consistently said over and over again he was responsible for building their economies. Those same states are the ones that have lost the most jobs during this COVID-19 pandemic. And no, people don't blame President Trump for the pandemic. They do blame him for his response. They blame him for not being ready. They blame him for ignoring all of the advice from not only medical professionals, but also from other nation state leaders who decided to act long before President Trump did. So the response here is the problem. And, we're bleeding hundreds of thousands of jobs across states every single day that are not going to come back. And we don't have a president who has his head on straight, much less an understanding of how to bring those jobs back. To argue that he was a job creator was a falsity from jump. We know that the majority of new jobs came from the Investment and Recovery Act that President Obama pushed through. Beyond that, we're watching a president right now who refuses to not only take any type of responsibility for the disasters that he's created, but he continues to try to push the media to chase other things. We've seen him try it with his friends and people arguing that somebody's going to get exonerated here, there, and everywhere. We've seen him and his administration try to, push several tales about Biden and Biden's son. At this point, we are at a crisis level. And what the American people want is to make sure that they have an economy that works for them, that they're able to pay their rent next month and the months after, that their kids are going to be safe. And they really want to know how do we get out of this depression era that we happen to be in right now? And I don't think anyone, blue or red state, actually trusts that this president is going to be someone who devises the plan to do it.
That particular ad, Malik, if you're a Republican, trust me, they have concerns. Democrats pick up 4 seats in the Senate. They take control of the United States Senate. They are seeing Trump is a drag on even their races. Even though we're talking about May, that's not the position you want to be in as we're heading into the summer, the fall. There's uncertainty when it comes to the economy, but also when it comes to public health.
What we've seen over the past, just number of just administrations is that presidents typically, as they're approaching re-election, they're not helpful down ballot. We saw that with Barack Obama, and the same thing that happened with George W. Bush. But the ad was a little long. I don't know if it were meant for. So maybe it's meant for Facebook or something.
Yes, no, it's digital. First of all, it's not a 60-second ad. It was a 2-minute plus ad. It's meant right. for digital. But it may be long. But the bottom line is, it was a whole lot you got to put in there in order to get folks' attention. That also establishes the timeline. What in the hell Trump didn't do.
Well, sure, but we've talked about this on the show before. The experts that you all are talking about, these experts have actually responded to it. Some of the things that they are alleging in the ad, we can go back and forth, kind of knocking each one of them down from what the federal government was doing at the time, what Trump was saying at the time, what happened with the doctor at the immunization director or whatever. There are plenty of things we can go back and just say, okay, well, those things actually weren't true. But as far as an ad is concerned, if you don't like Donald Trump or you're on the fence, this is something that could possibly sway you, but it's also something that we've just been debating publicly for a while now. Donald Trump, I think they've done a good thing as far as stopping the number of hearings and the format of the press conferences. I think they actually did a good thing with that, because the communication was part of the problem, and that PR campaign that Donald Trump was on was something that ultimately didn't serve him well. So they seem to be correcting themselves. But as I've said on this show many times before, there's Donald Trump, and then there's the federal government. Sure, we can blame Secretary Azar for what happened with HHS. We can blame the director of the CDC for what happened at the CDC. And that involves testing. That involves what we're talking about with contract tracing. That involves a whole host of things, even from equipment, the PPE equipment. All of that type of stuff we can actually talk about. And yes, Donald Trump, as the president of the United States, he's the boss. He's the ultimate one who's responsible for these things. But, it seems as if, at least, especially if we're talking about the testing, that really, to me, and I've kind of looked at it, and I've decided to say, well, this kind of, to me, seems like more of a brownie. Mike Brown from George Bush's administration during the Katrina. I think he was the head of FEMA at that time, where it was like a good job brownie that George Bush said to him. It seems as if I still haven't been able to piece it together, but something happened, and it wasn't President Trump and what President Trump was out there saying. Something happened at the CDC, HHS, as far as these tests are concerned. I still haven't been able to figure that part out. Why were we so late as far as the testing? But that is an issue. And, there have been concerns. There have been talks about whether Donald Trump was going to keep Secretary Azar and replace him with Dr. Birx, or, there have been a lot of discussions about that, but Donald Trump says he's fine. But there definitely, as I've said and I've owned up to, sure, there have been things that the administration just hasn't done well, but I'm not one of those who's going to get on whether it's this administration or another administration, and attack the federal government. And I think a lot of what we've been doing is just attacking the federal government.
No. What we've been doing is citing Kelly, what we're doing is citing exactly what is happening. The bottom line is, Malik, that's cute for you to try to divorce federal government from Trump. The reason, Kelly, the phrase "the buck stops here," remember, Kelly, remember, in the Democratic Republican National Convention that was in Cleveland. Who stood up there and said, only I can fix this? See, when you try to say, I'm the man, I got this, but then when hell comes, that ain't me. Yeah, y'all, gone. That's CDC, that's them. Then he's constantly lying by saying, we were left with no plan. The Obama people left a 69-page plan. The Obama people, it was their test. Fauci was asked that today. He said, no, that's not true. See, and so here's what you can't do, Kelly. You can try to sit here and separate everybody to shield Trump. The buck stops at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Kelly.
My issue with Malik's argument, be that as it may, is the fact that, again, we cannot bifurcate Trump from the administration because it is Trump's administration. You want to blame the CDC? Okay, fine. Well, you appointed the person to be the head of the CDC, sir. You want to blame the health professionals or the Surgeon General or whatever. You appointed the Surgeon General. These are all people who report to you, and you hired them. So if they're not doing their job, that's on you. If the administration isn't doing what they're supposed to be doing, that's on you too. And it's very frustrating to me that we keep going back to this blame shifting and the scapegoating and, just trying to have Trump attenuate himself from everything. And I'm just like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Because like you said, when he got up at RNC, he said, only I can fix this. Every time he's on a podium, he's like, I got this. Even when he's berating female journalists at the podium when they're trying to, use his words and try to get explanations out of what he's saying, he wants to be like, oh, that wasn't me. He's a liar. But not only is he a liar, he's a one-trick pony. And that's the real issue here. He, like any other one-trick pony, you have one trick. And his was entertainment and buffering and making sure that people were satisfied by way of a phrase or an event or, something flashy. Well, right now we're in the middle of a global pandemic. There's nothing flashy about over 80,000 people dead under your watch. There's nothing flashy at over 1 million people affected by something that you could have prevented back in January. There is nothing flashy about the fact that you really don't know anything, Mr. President. And yet here you are in a position when you're supposed to know and you don't, but you want to, act like you do and not garner the expertise of Dr. Fauci and others and instead try to belittle them and berate them and undermine their authority and their expertise on something that they've been doing for over 30 years. Like with any president, you've only been in this for 4. Whether you're a bad president or not, you're supposed to defer to the experts. It's clear that he's not an expert, but narcissism says that he is. His mind says that he is. So he's going to keep doing this one-trick pony episode. And frankly, it's not going to work. It hasn't worked. And we're seeing beyond the veil of his facade. And that's really what's ticking him off. That's really what's ticking these Republicans off, because they thought that for 4 years, they would be able to have a one-trick pony in the office so they can get whatever they want undone. They weren't anticipating a global pandemic. Nobody was. But now they're stuck.
Well,
but at the end of the day, to your initial point, the administration is Trump's. You wanted this job, you got this job, do your job.
Real simple. The buck stops with you. Every single night. We've got some of the top black experts. You're not going to see them on cable news or broadcast news because you swear black people aren't experts when it comes to this health crisis. That's why we have this show and why we do what we do every day on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Joining us right now is retired General Russell Honore, the nation's first black Surgeon General. Dr. Joycelyn Elders. John Hope Bryant, he is the founder of Operation Hope. Senator Kamala Harris of California. Dr. Cedrina Calder, Lieutenant General Lloyd Austin. Congresswoman Karen Bass, Commissioner Omari Hardick. Bureau President in Brooklyn, Eric Adams. Dr. Joseph Graves, America's Wealth Coach Deborah Owens. Dr. Corey Abear, Patel Saul. Howard University student. Pastor Jamal Bryant, Dr. Christy McDowell, Benja Ajilore, senior economist at the Center for American Progress. Gilda Daniels, again, author of the book, The Crisis of Voter Suppression in America. 4 stars, General Kip Ward. Dr. Oliver Brooks is president of the National Medical Association, president of the American Medical Association. Dr. Patrice Harris. Joby Benjamin, Dr. Alexia Gaffney, infectious disease specialist. Dr. Georges Benjamin, executive director of the American Public Health Association. Malcolm Nance, family medicine physician, Dr. Jen Caudle. Dr. Tashaka Cunningham, a molecular biologist. Kat Stafford, she's a national race and ethnicity reporter for the Associated Press. Dr. Wayne A.I. Frederick, who is the president of Howard University. Congresswoman Yvette Clarke from the state of New York. William Spriggs, AFL-CIO economist. Andrea James, executive director of the National Council for Incarcerated and Formerly Incarcerated Women and Girls. All right, let's go to Capitol Hill. Congressman Gregory Meeks, Congresswoman Eddie British Johnson of Texas, Congresswoman Barbara Lee, Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar, mental health clinician Jamie Singletary, Prince George's County State's Attorney Aisha Brayboy, as well as Dylan Hayrie, ACLU Justice Division strategist. Dr. Cindy Duke, she is a virologist. Principal Steve Perry of Capitol Prep. Health and wellness specialist Dr. Yolandra Hancock. Desmond Meade, president of the Florida Rights Restoration Coalition. Cliff Albright, who is the co-founder of Black Voters Matter. Michael Harriet with The Root. Lamina McWhorter, founder of Love by the Hand. Dr. Julianne Malveaux, economist, president, Emerita Bennett College. Coroner Michael Fowler is a mayor of Atlanta. Keisha Lance Bottoms, mental health therapist Suzette Clark. Justin Gibney, attorney and political strategist, and Bishop Vincent Matthews Jr. Dr. Suzette McKinney, CEO and executive director of the Illinois Medical District. Dr. Leon Madugal, president-elect of the National Medical Association. Jana Bailey, mayor of Moss Point, Mississippi. Mario King. We're going to keep driving this thing to make sure our people are fully aware, safe, protected from coronavirus. You're getting the top medical experts, the top business experts, top political experts, top religious experts, because that's why we do what we do. Unapologetically and unfiltered. Ain't nobody else in the black media space doing what we do. Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. You know what time it is.
Girls are allowed. I'm white. I got you, huh?
Illegally selling water without a permit on my property.
Whoa! Hey!
We don't live here. I'm uncomfortable.
I know. All right, my people. What happens when you trying to mind your own business? You in Sacramento, California, and Lord, the people living next door to you just act a plumb fool and hit you with the N-word. Press play.
I'm in and out of it right now. Are you 100% here with me right now?
Yeah.
I'm
here with you right here. I see you right there.
Okay.
I see you right there.
Okay.
I see your bitch right there recording me. I see you, nigga. I see you.
You look ridiculous.
Come on, let's go.
You're 50 years old.
She's not 50, dude.
I'm not 50.
Okay.
But you guys understand, like, we're not trying to do anything to bother you guys.
You're the same age as my kids.
We are. We are. So why are you arguing with people that are the same age as your kids?
Listen. I'm a professor at Sac State, dude. I have a PhD. I don't need to be dealing with shit like this.
I have my master's.
Okay?
Fuck you off.
I don't give a fuck. I don't need it either.
All right, then. Just control your girl.
How can
you talk like that?
You don't have to control me.
Okay.
I'm controlled.
Okay, well, back up from.
Okay, I don't know what happened there, y'all. On the front of that, she just flat out called this black man just the N-word. I'll try to find the actual video. But they try to mind them, but they quick to pull it out without Kelly. They quick to pull it out. This kind of like, oh, no, I don't know. You know what's going to happen? I don't know where that came from. I have no idea where that came from.
What was the context? Not that you need context to say that word, but it just seemed like out of nowhere, she just was like, I'm tired of seeing black people go away, N-word. Like, I don't get it. I truly don't get it. And every time one of these videos pop up, I always think, minding your business is free. Like, it's so free. You don't have to pay. You don't have to do anything. It might be the easiest, laziest thing you can do that will give you peace of mind. I don't understand why people invest in time and things that have absolutely nothing to do with them. Absolutely nothing. Like, and the fact that the guy was talking about, oh, he has a PhD. Well, you spent, PhDs are expensive. Let's just
hold on, Kelly. Hold on. You asked what the deal is. So, according to this story, the video was posted on Facebook by the couple's neighbor, Michaela Cobb, who claimed they verbally attacked her and her boyfriend over the smell of bacon grease.
It was the bacon grease.
Yeah, and
bacon grease.
And it says that Tim Ford, who is the professor, he claimed his wife had entered a hospital for alcohol and drug abuse on Friday in the wake of the embarrassing clip. Kelly finished, then I'm going to Amisha.
Oh, so it's kind of like the, I'm crazy defense that we use for serial killers and school shooters, only you say the N-word and that'll clear everything up. You go and read.
Kelly, we're losing your signal. Amisha, go ahead.
The part that's most shocking here, other than them announcing their credentials when they, walked up and decided to call their neighbors outside of their name, is the fact of how this argument started to begin with. You are so upset that you use racial epithets because you smelled bacon grease coming from your neighbor's place. Like, at what point is that where your mind goes? These people are literally making breakfast in their own home. And you walk out and you start announcing, oh, I have a PhD. Also, who cares? And in your reaction, and I will give it to their African-American neighbors because they're a lot better than I would have been in that situation. And now to save her tail and her husband's, it is, well, she's going into rehab. This woman isn't crazy. Yes, she was probably, on some stuff, but that doesn't automatically make the N-word be the first thing that you pull out.
So here's what I want to do. So guys, if y'all have from the beginning, play the video for Melik. Go ahead and play it.
On in and out of it right now. Are you 100% here with me right now?
No, that's not the beginning. That's not the beginning.
Right there.
That's not the beginning. I'm gonna go ahead and pull it up. But see, this was still amazes me. What amazes me is the whole. I mean, we always get the excuses. No, that's not really me. That's not really my feelings. I don't know where that came from. And now the whole rehab deal. I mean, I think all of that's just utterly hilarious. But I mean, but this. Y'all mad because of bacon grease. That PhD money. That to me is what's the most trip about this whole deal. You mad about bacon grease, Melik? Really? I ain't realized bacon. I thought everybody loved bacon. Maybe this couple Muslim. I don't know, but I don't know what the deal was. That bacon grease make you go crazy.
No, Roland. I don't eat pork. I don't eat bacon. But when I tell you that the smell of bacon grease is probably the next best thing to fried chicken to me, the whole starting with the whole calling the man a nigger, We started with there, then we ended with all of these. Well, I'm a PhD. All of these things are absolutely, totally irrelevant. We laugh about it.
Like folks with PhDs can't be bigots.
And be what looks bigots. And be out drinking in public and all of that. It seems like maybe that's what he was doing. Yeah, I mean, it's a stupid story. They were stupid in it. I'm with my homegirl Amisha on it. Is that the neighbors were those black neighbors were much better than what I would have been, because it would have been lit, turned. All the neighbors would have been outside by the time we finished with that one.
Yeah, I just sit here and routinely, I keep trying to tell y'all, okay, what gets me is the professor now wants to apologize. Did any of y'all hear him admonish his wife when she said that?
No,
or is it just me? I mean, I'm just saying. Did anybody? Here's the full-length video here. I want y'all to hear from the beginning. All right, y'all, go.
I'm in and out of it right now. Are you 100% here with me right now?
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm here with you, right here. I see you right there.
Okay.
I see you right there.
Okay.
I see your bitch right there recording me. I see you, nigga. I see you.
You look ridiculous.
Come on, let's go.
You're 50 years old.
She's not 50, dude.
Wait a minute. So the husband don't say nothing about
call her a bitch,
call the N-word, or call the woman a bitch. Dude, she ain't 50, man. My wife ain't 50.
That's the only thing he was gonna respond to. He got offended by the age comment.
I ain't 50. She ain't 50. She ain't 50. She 49. She ain't 50. She 49. Look.
No, black don't crack, plaster shatters.
All I'm trying to look. I have a great appreciation for cameras, but I just want to do y'all again. Please go back to go to the video. Please do me a favor. Just do me a favor.
I'm here with you right
No.
here.
Y'all see the video? Come back to me. Do me a favor. Do me a favor, y'all. Okay, please. Can y'all please just next time y'all shoot crazy ass white people, just shoot horizontal. Shoot horizontal.
Why do you always do this?
Because Kelly, see, I need you to pay attention, Kelly. Go back to the video, y'all. Go back to the video. Kelly, see the big ass black boxes on the left and the right? That's what happens when you shoot
because you're
vertical.
It from your phone.
No, Kelly, let me help you, Kelly. Okay? Look, Kelly, when you shoot this way, it creates black boxes on the side. When you shoot this way, it fills the whole screen up. That's why. It's called 16:9. It's the television standard. So I'm saying, when y'all shooting video, I want y'all to shoot landscape or horizontal so we can see the whole picture, not the black boxes. What's your issue, Kelly?
Okay, people are...
Kelly, I need you to first get your Skype together. You got struggle Skype right now. I can't hear.
I can't help this signal.
No, Kelly. Look, I don't know what kind of Wi-Fi you got. Kelly, you got cricket Wi-Fi at your house?
Oh, I live under trees. Leave me alone.
That's the problem. We couldn't hear what you just said. All I'm saying, people, I'm just giving y'all a video lesson. Shoot this. In fact, let me just go ahead, because some of y'all don't believe me, since Kelly don't believe me. Henry, come to my phone. Y'all, come to my phone. Come to my phone. Okay, Henry, come to my phone. You don't see it? There we go. All right, y'all see the phone? You don't see it? I don't know why you don't see it. Bottom line, you know what? I'm gonna use the iPad. Because see, some of y'all think I'm joking right here. Okay, here we go. See that view? Come to the iPad. Well, dog, it must well, guess what? It's showing. There you go. See that? That's vertical. See them black boxes, Kelly? That's vertical. That's horizontal, Kelly. Do you see the difference? Vertical, horizontal. Vertical, horizontal. Got it? Lord have mercy. All right, y'all. every single night. We've got some of the top black experts. You're not going to see them on cable news or broadcast news because you swear black people aren't experts when it comes to this health crisis. That's why we have this show and why we do what we do every day on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Joining us right now is retired General Russell Honore, the nation's first black Surgeon General, Dr. Joycelyn Elders. John Hope Bryant, he is the founder of Operation Hope. Senator Kamala Harris of California, Dr. Cedrina Calder, retired General Lloyd Austin, Congresswoman Karen Bass, Commissioner Omari Hardick, Bureau President in Brooklyn, Eric Adams, Dr. Joseph Graves, America's Wealth Coach, Deborah Owens, Dr. Corey Abear, Patel Saul, Howard University student, Pastor Jamal Bryant, Dr. Christy McDowell, Benja Ajilore, senior economist at the Center for American Progress, Gilda Daniels, again, author of the book, The Crisis of Voter Suppression in America. 4 stars, General Kip Ward, Dr. Oliver Brooks is president of the National Medical Association, president of the American Medical Association, Dr. Patrice Harris, Joby Benjamin, Dr. Alexia Gaffney, infectious disease specialist, Dr. Georges Benjamin, executive director of the American Public Health Association, Malcolm Nance, family medicine physician, Dr. Jen Caudle, Dr. Tashaka Cunningham, a molecular biologist, Kat Stafford. She's a national race and ethnicity reporter for the Associated Press. Dr. Wayne A.I. Frederick, who is the president of Howard University, Congresswoman Yvette Clarke from the state of New York, William Spriggs, AFL-CIO economist, Andrea James, executive director of the National Council for Incarcerated and Formerly Incarcerated Women and Girls. All right, let's go to Capitol Hill. Congressman Gregory Meeks, Congresswoman Eddie British Johnson of Texas, Congresswoman Barbara Lee, Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar, mental health clinician Jamie Singletary, Prince George's County State's Attorney Aisha Brayboy, as well as Dylan Hayrie, ACLU Justice Division strategist. Dr. Cindy Duke, she is a virologist. Principal Steve Perry of Capitol Prep. Health and wellness specialist Dr. Yolandra Hancock, Desmond Meade, president of the Florida Rights Restoration Coalition, Cliff Albright, who is the co-founder of Black Voters Matter, Michael Harriet with The Root, Mina McWhorter, founder of Love by the Hand, Dr. Julianne Malveaux, economist, president, Emerita Bennett College, coroner Michael Fowler, is a mayor of Atlanta, Keisha Lance Bottoms, mental health therapist Suzette Clark, Justin Gibney, attorney and political strategist, and Bishop Vincent Matthews Jr., Dr. Suzette McKinney, CEO and executive director of the Illinois Medical District, Dr. Leon McDougall, president-elect of the National Medical Association, Jana Bailey, Mayor of Moss Point, Mississippi, Mario King. We're going to keep driving this thing to make sure our people are fully aware, safe, protected from coronavirus. You're getting the top medical experts, the top business experts, top political experts, top religious experts, because that's why we do what we do. Unapologetically and unfiltered. Ain't nobody else in the black media space doing what we do. Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. All right, I want to bring this up here. And so y'all know how I feel about that truly stupid and ignorant Candace Owens. Who made some of the most illogical, nonsensical comments regarding the case of Ahmaud Arbery, trashing him, saying black folks, why y'all, he was stealing, wasn't jogging. Well, things got a little heated on social media in the last 24 hours where a group of black conservatives have actually been standing up and called her comments out. It's been real interesting, Malik, seeing this back and forth take place with this one sister who's a conservative named Sonny Johnson. And she, of course, has been battling with Candace on this. And what was interesting is that these black conservatives, what they laid out is that they said that point blank, they condemned her particular comments. I just think, I'm going to pull up their whole statement in a second. But can somebody just explain to me why you have black conservatives like Candace who, I mean, anytime it's dealing, just won't call white folks out for nothing, but will trash black people for raising a big stink about the Ahmaud Arbery case. Here's the deal, Malik. If black people didn't say jack, those two guys are still sitting at home. If black folks said nothing about Breonna Taylor, guess what? Nothing happens. And so what's up with some of your fellow black conservatives who have more vitriol towards black people who fight for justice than the white folks who are defending these two idiots who killed Ahmaud Arbery?
So we're going to, this is what I'll say. As someone who was a lifelong Democrat until I voted for Donald Trump, it's a lot of, and I appreciate a lot of the black conservatives who are coming out condemning her remarks. I condemn her, not her remarks. I condemn her. And I actually wrote a piece on that condemning her remarks. I mean, condemning her. And
how do you condemn her but not her remarks? I don't understand that.
No, well, let me clear that up. What I was saying is that people are condemning her remarks. I condemn Candace Owens and what Candace Owens actually stands for as it relates to growing the black conservative movement. Now, Candace Owens has been this way forever. And people say, you know, she is definitely one of the most visible black conservatives that we have out of there. But for all intents and purposes, Candace Owens is a Trump supporter. Candace is not, I understand what she's doing with the whole Brexit movement, but for all intents and purposes, Candace Owens is a Trump supporter. Whether or not she'll be around after Trump leaves, I don't know.
But wait, wait. I'm trying to understand the distinction. So what you're saying, you're saying she's not a black conservative, she's a Trump supporter. But wait a minute, you just said that you were a Democrat and then you voted for Trump. So aren't you a Trump supporter and not a black conservative?
Absolutely. And actually, in my case, and the distinction that I would make between me and Candace
hold on. I want to be clear before you make the distinction. Hold on. Wait. I just want to be clear before you make the distinction. So you're saying that you're not a black Republican or a black conservative. You're a Trump supporter. So are you still a Democrat but a Trump supporter?
Yeah. So let me finish my point. Where the distinction between me and Candace is that I'm actually out there trying to bring people into the Republican Party. Candace, and she's admitted to it, you know, Candace, she wants to move people away from the Democratic Party. I want to increase the numbers of people in the Republican Party. Until today, and I don't know, maybe it'll change tomorrow, Candace, at no point has that been her focus. So when I say that Candace Owens is a Trump supporter, I think a lot of us, people just in America in general, you know, they kind of take on the mantle of being a black conservative. Well, what does that mean? If you ask people what does being a black conservative mean, a lot of them really don't have answers. And because I've had these conversations with many people who now consider themselves a black conservatives, what they're really talking about is that they actually support Donald Trump. That doesn't mean that they are not conservative, but as for my purposes, Candace is totally different from a lot of those people and the people that you saw in the op-ed, the article that you're talking about. A lot of those people are actually involved in the movement to bring more people into the party. I'm not sure that that's Candace's goals. Again, I understand what she's doing with Brexit, but I'm not sure that's Candace's goal. I've criticized Candace over and over and over again because I think that what Candace does, and as I wrote today, when she makes comments as she does, what happens is that there's an anvil that we have to wear around our necks when trying to defend the party against people just like her. But make no mistake, and I'll just say this very quickly, make no mistake, Candace is in a long line of black people who have done this, whether they consider themselves black conservatives, black Republicans, or whatever. Candace didn't start this game. She's probably the biggest that we've had in this age of social media, but Candace didn't start this game. And you can look at the Republican Party itself, black Republicans in the party, black conservatives in the party, they participated in this. So the same people who are actually paying Candace's, depositing money into her bank account, many of these other conservatives have benefited from those same entities.
Okay, so you're now a black Republican.
I've been a Republican.
No. That's why I was trying. It was all over the place. I was trying to just understand what on the deal of what's going on. Okay, all right.
I've always, and anyone who knows me, when they ask what am I or whatever, I always actually reference that I'm a Republican because that's what I am, and I'm interested in bringing people into the Republican Party. That's exactly what I am.
Okay, here's a statement. Eugene Craig, of course, appears on our show often. He's the author of this statement. Black conservative statement on Candace Owens tweets. We, the undersigned black conservative leaders, unequivocally condemn the hate-filled and destructive words tweeted and spoken by Candace Owens in the freest county on the face of the earth. I think that meant country. In the freest country on the face of the earth, no black man deserves to be gunned down like a dog in the street. Blackness is not a weapon. Blackness is not a threat. The words spoken by Candace are not reflective of the black conservative movement and should be universally condemned by the broader conservative movement and all who support freedom and liberty. Her words provide shield and cover for these type of incidents to continue. This is not the role of the black conservative. Our hearts go out to Ahmaud. Actually, Ahmaud is misspelled. Ahmaud Arbery's family, and we continue to lift them in prayer. Black men and women have a right to live freely in this country. We all have a responsibility to protect that right. We have a responsibility to condemn, her hate-filled and inaccurate tweets and statements. The thing, Kelly, that was interesting about this, again, is that you immediately see, and this is where, so this segment is not, this ain't all about Candace. I don't give a damn because she's stupid. She dumb, and other people who follow her dumb too. But what you find is, who are the people who are the quickest to stand with the two men who killed Ahmaud Arbery? White conservatives. Mm-hmm. You think back to Zimmerman. Now, there have been conservatives, white conservatives, who said this is foul. Eric Erickson was like, I don't care what none of y'all say. I don't care if he was looking inside of a house. That is not licensed to shoot and kill this man. But when you look at these people who are the most vocal saying, oh, first y'all was saying hands up, don't shoot. Now y'all saying he was just jogging. It's real interesting. The people who most are likely to side with Travis and George McMichael are white conservatives.
I mean, it's not so interesting when you look at the history of the conservative movement and why people switched from being Democrats to conservatives back in the late 50s, early 60s during the civil rights movement, going from Dixiecrats to Republicans and the like. But what I will say is specifically when it comes to black conservatism, I am not part of that number, but I have observed that based off of the ideologies of my friends who are, I would be hard-pressed to consider a black person who considers themselves conservative or Trump supporter to be true Republicans, because Trump himself does not align with the ideologies that I know of the Republican Party. So when Candace Owens saying, I agree with Malik to an extent when he said that Candace is a Trump supporter, but that's the only extent to which I will agree with Malik on this case, because her aligning with Trump, just by way of what Trump has done these past couple years and how his ideologies have come to light, I would venture to say that he's not truly a Republican. I would also venture to say that white supremacists aren't necessarily Republican, they're just not Democrat. And that's the problem with a bicameral party system, is that if you don't agree with one, it's kind of like you have to go to the other if you want your voice to be heard. And that's where we get a lot of conflating ideology. That's where we get a lot of false narratives when it comes to these parties and their ideologies. Because when you look at conservatism and when you look at the Republican Party and what their ideologies are, it's not that of Donald Trump. It's just conservative. Donald Trump is in a class of his own.
Well, and I think, but it's like the point I raised, Amisha, about the NRA. Will they stand with, they're supposed to all about, licensed gun owners and Second Amendment and defend yourself, but they are very much pro-cop. in the case of this brother in Louisville. Okay, you're the NRA. Same thing I said when John Crawford was killed in that Walmart in Ohio. All right, NRA, show us what y'all really stand for. And the reality is they're more likely to stand for conservative ideals. And this is when black people say, hold up, if y'all supposedly real, where are you on this one right here? And in this case here, automatically it's white conservatives and some blacks sitting there running behind this case. And to Melik's point, you got black conservatives who are like, yo, what the hell? What the hell? But what it's showing, Amisha, is showing you might think y'all in this thing together, but y'all ain't in this thing together. You might be black and conservative. They might be white and conservative, but your ass still black, Amisha.
Absolutely. And I think that is one of the most salient points of all, because at the end of the day, whether somebody chooses to be a black conservative because of the era of Trump and their grifters, like what we've seen from Candace Owens, or if they are a hardline conservative following all the conservative principles, you can never be conservative enough to erase your skin color or the burden that comes along with it. That is where we are in America. So Candace saying completely ridiculous things and comparing this death to the many deaths that she counted in black on black crime and, calling out LeBron James and going down a whole litany of ridiculousness to try to substantiate why a young man would literally be hunted down by two white men in a pickup truck with guns circa 1800s, 1952. We haven't seen this in America in a really long time, but somehow she thought that she was in a place to make a justification for it. That's a problem. I do applaud to a certain extent the black conservatives who felt it necessary to come out and say something this time. But Candace Owens has railed against black people for a long time. She has literally cast a name for herself by throwing all types of negativity on the black population. She is what the Republican Party has wanted for a very long time. Someone who looked like a black person, someone who spoke like a black person, someone who couldn't walk into a room and be mistaken as anything other than a black person, but someone who could also sell talking points of whiteness, talking points of racism, and it go over well. And now she's reached a point where people are calling her out, finally.
The thing here, again, Melik, at the end of the day, your ass might be as conservative as you want to be, but you black. Hell, we don't know who Ahmaud Arbery voted for. We don't know any of that, but what we do know is he dead. And what we do know is the people who are standing with the individuals who shot him, who are trying to tear him down, are largely white conservatives. And then you got that fool Candace and others. But again, but this is where it don't matter. It's the same thing. Look, Cleo and others on this show, brothers and sisters who are same gender loving will say, yeah, we gay, but you white gay, I'm black gay. You black conservative, I'm white conservative, yeah, but you black, still white. The reality is, white is the operative word, and white conservative is white.
It's white.
Born black, will die black. Go die black. That's exactly what it is. And what I've seen now, and I've been kind of witnessing over the past year or so, what I've seen now is that people have said, and it's usually, it's the number of conservatives that I've seen come out and speak out against it, the black conservatives, this is a long time overdue. And like Amisha said, this isn't Candace's first time at the rodeo. It's just that this is the first time you've actually seen people willing to come out and criticize her. And the reason that they have not is because of what you said, Roland. So those white conservatives that you talk about, and I will say that I've met awesome white conservatives out there, absolutely awesome white conservatives. But the ones that Candace appeals to, where she appeals to their racism, their prejudice, and their bigotry, those are the people that you're talking about. The ones that will get on social media and say, well, what about black on black crime? Before the ink was dry, Candace came out of Twitter jail and started attacking Ahmaud. That's exactly what she did immediately when she came out of Twitter jail. And then she tried to kind of backtrack it and say, well, there may be other things. No, she did it because she does it because these are the people who pay her paychecks. And so that's what she has to continue to do. I don't know. And I've heard people say, well, you know, that we have a big tent. Yes, the conservative Republican Party has a very big tent. Conservatives, whatever, very big tent. But for my purposes, Candace Amber Owens, does not speak to me or any of my conservatism. She just doesn't.
Every single night. We've got some of the top black experts. You're not going to see them on cable news or broadcast news because you swear black people aren't experts when it comes to this health crisis. That's why we have this show and why we do what we do every day on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Joining us right now is retired General Russell Honore, the nation's first black Surgeon General, Dr. Joycelyn Elders. John Hope Bryant, he is the founder of Operation Hope. Senator Kamala Harris of California, Dr. Sadrina Calder, retired General Lloyd Austin, Congresswoman Karen Bass, Commissioner Omari Hardy, Bureau President in Brooklyn, Eric Adams, Dr. Joseph Graves, America's Wealth Coach, Deborah Owens, Dr. Corey Abear, Patal Saul, Howard University student, Pastor Jamal Bryant, Dr. Christy McDowell, Benja Ajilore, senior economist at the Center for American Progress, Gilda Daniels, again, author of the book, The Crisis of Voter Suppression in America. 4 stars, General Kip Ward, Dr. Oliver Brooks is president of the National Medical Association, president of the American Medical Association, Dr. Patrice Harris, Joby Benjamin, Dr. Alexia Gaffney, infectious disease specialist, Dr. Georges Benjamin, executive director of the American Public Health Association, Malcolm Nance, family medicine physician, Dr. Jen Caudle, Dr. Tashaka Cunningham, a molecular biologist, Kat Stafford. She's a national race and ethnicity reporter for the Associated Press. Dr. Wayne A.I. Frederick, who is the president of Howard University, Congresswoman Yvette Clarke from the state of New York, William Spriggs, AFL-CIO economist, Andrea James, executive director of the National Council for Incarcerated and Formerly Incarcerated Women and Girls. All right, let's go to Capitol Hill. Congressman Gregory Meeks, Congresswoman Eddie Bernice Johnson of Texas, Congresswoman Barbara Lee, Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar, mental health clinician Jamie Singletary, Prince George's County State's Attorney Aisha Brayboy, as well as Dylan Hayrie, ACLU Justice Division strategist. Dr. Cindy Duke, she is a virologist. Principal Steve Perry of Capitol Prep. Health and wellness specialist Dr. Yolandra Hancock. Desmond Meade, president of the Florida Rights Restoration Coalition. Cliff Albright, who is the co-founder of Black Voters Matter. Michael Harriet with the Root. Mina McWhorter, founder of Love by the Hand. Dr. Julian Malvo, economist president, Emerita Bennett College. Coroner Michael Fowler is the mayor of Atlanta. Keisha Lance Bottoms, mental health therapist Suzette Clark. Justin Gibney, attorney and political strategist, and Bishop Vincent Matthews Jr. Dr. Suzette McKinney, CEO and executive director of the Illinois Medical District. Dr. Leon Madugal, president-elect of the National Medical Association. Jana Bailey, mayor of Moss Point, Mississippi, Mario King. We're going to keep driving this thing to make sure our people are fully aware, safe, protected from coronavirus. You're getting the top medical experts, the top business experts, top political experts, top religious experts, because that's why we do what we do. Unapologetically and unfiltered. Ain't nobody else in the black media space doing what we do. Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. As Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. What's interesting about this is that, for the most part, you got these white conservatives lining up behind the McMichaels, but you got a few black folks who've done that. Well, last night, a group of these Blexit black conservatives, or call themselves black conservatives, had a Zoom debate. Let's just say it got a little crazy, a little heated. You get this dude, Brandon Tatum, former cop, thinking like a cop, not thinking like a black cop, who has put out videos. And here's what's very interesting. Here's a guy who puts a video out trying to offer the facts of the Arbery case. And it's almost gotten 2 million views in only a handful of days. Trust me, those are not black people who are watching that video. Well, things got a little rough in this Zoom conversation Here is an excerpt.
Question for Brandon. I came on here for this question. Brandon, I've spoken to you before. I think you're a great guy, and this is why I'm concerned about what's going on now. I mean, I think you know that a lot of us, for example, in other cases that, of course, other Black people have definitely pushed back on when we talk about it. For example, when people were kneeling during the football games, I didn't think that was right. And I was very vocal about that I'm proud of my flag and proud of America. But there are certain cases that are so clear-cut, like, for example, Philando Castile. Most people, well, even if they go back later and look at it, know that it was a very clear-cut case and it was wrong. And then looking here in this issue, I don't agree. You said you don't agree? That it's so clear-cut that it's something that we can bring out and say, as in unison, you know what? This is when it's wrong. Because what we get all the time is people saying that we never talk about racism when it actually exists. We talk about racism is everywhere. And I personally will say, and I will say that over and over again, I will call out people who make everything about race, because that's not true. But it's also not true when it is very obvious when something is maybe, you know what? Not even on this case, if it's not even about race, right? If Arbery were a white man and I saw that video, I would be just as horrified, because that man did not deserve to die. Period.
Nobody said he did, though. I don't know. I'll give you $1,000 if you see anybody that said that man deserved to die.
But you know what you usually do when you know that something is wrong? You stand up for the person who was the victim. And that's the problem that we're not seeing.
Laquan McDonald. Did you make a video about Laquan McDonald? Did you make a video about Laquan McDonald?
We're not seeing you in this case.
No. Did you make a video about Laquan McDonald?
Can I finish what I'm saying? I'm saying
you're just making up stuff.
No. How am I making up stuff?
I made a video about Laquan McDonald's death at the hands of a police officer that shot him 12 times. Clearly, it was wrong. I made a whole video about how that was wrong.
Okay, can we go back?
How am I not defending?
Can I finish my statement on the Arbery to Brandon? I'm just saying, in this case, it seems that what it looks like is that you're going out of your way for people who are trying to be compassionate to really, I mean, we're always the ones who are going, oh, let's wait for the facts to come out, okay? And that is why a lot of people feel like we're heartless. But in situations where it's so clear-cut, 3 months after the fact it happened, that you continue to say, let's look at the facts, and the facts are coming out hour after hour in the media, and it's been actually justified by the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. It's not justified. Why would we talk about the facts in that sense just as much as you talk about the facts in the other sense? Look,
it is irrelevant. It is ironic. It is ironic. No, it's not. It's ironic that all of these cases that we see, people are involved in criminal activity. It's never, he said it's never a case where a person that just am doing nothing is just gunned down. All these people have an extensive criminal history. Why is that important? Why is that important? Do you not think that's strange?
So Shelley Luther,
just because you had a criminal past doesn't mean that you deserve to lose your life.
It's funny because
that is relevant in the case that's at play.
You know, here's the thing.
I gotta go.
They're quick to run and grab that talking point of Biden and Hillary Clinton. You know, created the. You know,
I'm gone, man.
Crime bill. They created
you
the crime bill.
You the fakest nigga I ever seen in my life.
They created the crime bill.
I see you in person.
They created the crime bill.
What you said. I'm done, bro. You a fake nigga. I hope everybody see that.
I appreciate it.
Fake, bro. I'm gonna expose you to everybody. And when I see you, nigga, it's gonna be on. I want you to know that. Because you call me on the phone and you saying all this, and then you get on the live stream and you playing this shit. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Is that black on black crime? Is that black on black crime?
You's a bitch. I told you. Everybody on your live stream know you's a bitch. And when I see you, I'm whooping your ass. Everybody got your live stream.
I like it.
You want to be hood, nigga? You want to be hood? You on the phone talking shit to me, and you call me and say you apologize? Yeah, nigga.
I never apologized.
You apologize?
I never
apologized. You didn't apologize. My wife listened to you, nigga.
I never apologized. What I said was.
Bitch, nigga.
What I said.
Let's wrap this up.
So the brother you heard who was cussing another brother out, that's Brandon Tatum. very close with Candace Owens, used to work with Turning Point USA and Charlie Kirk, frequent visitor to the White House, loves himself some Donald Trump. And that's how they were talking amongst black conservatives. See, so what happened is the brother who was in the top corner, I think he'd go by Hotep Jesus. Okay, that's what he goes by. So he basically was saying, Brandon, why y'all parroting white conservatives? How is it that you're giving them the talking points? And see, that's really what we're seeing a lot of, Reese. You got these people who are Trump supporters, like a Tatum. Candace Owens came out of Twitter jail, just blasting away, basically saying, y'all don't say nothing about black on black violence. Y'all don't care about black people. Now y'all are mad. She was the first one trying to say Ahmaud Arbery was out there thieving. And trust me, the white conservatives are sitting there loving it. See, if you want to know how to game, just go to Brandon's YouTube channel. His videos, they show you'll see giving that money, giving that money. And that's what I'm trying to explain to people when we expose these folks for who they are, okay? I know a whole bunch of black conservatives who are third and fourth and fifth generation black Republicans. These folks are Trump grifters. Not everybody in that video, but folks like Brandon Tatum, that's what you're dealing with. Folks like him, what you're dealing with is they have come of age in this Trump. You got Lawrence Jones up there. You see him running his mouth on Fox News. He be saying some nonsense as well. The sister we tried to Okafor, we invited her on the show. We couldn't reach her. But the bottom line is here. I've had different people on here, like this dude, R.C. Maxwell, whatever the hell his name is, out there, his usual, they nonsense. You call it what it is, and they're the ones who are claiming, they're leading black people out of the Democratic Party. Well, if you following a fool like Brandon Tatum, you're going to be going over a cliff.
Right. I mean, I don't know any of these people, to be frank with you. I've never heard of them. I don't know them. But I don't like what I see from that clip. And I watched some of their discussion. I was disgusted watching it. My husband has a saying. He says that some black people, I'm going to put the some in front of it, but some black people are the foot soldiers of white supremacy. And that's what these Trump conservative grifters are. When you perpetuate these stereotypes, when you sit up there and regurgitate these talking points to try to criminalize an innocent black man who was doing absolutely nothing wrong, it's disgusting. And the way that Brandon turned up in that video, there are white folks that would shoot his ass for doing that much, okay? And so, they want to parrot these things about, you have to, conduct yourself a certain way. And look how he was turning up in N-word this and N-word that. It's ridiculous. If he had come across some of these white folks that they're defending, his ass would be shot dead, just like all these other black people that they have absolutely no compassion for, who did far less than what he did in that video.
You put your head down, Greg.
Brother, that's 3 minutes of my life I'm not going to get back. Daniel Dresner wrote a book a couple of years ago called The Ideas Industry. And he talks about how over the last generation or so, what we've shifted from is the idea of public intellectuals. On the white side, you might think of a Daniel Patrick Moynihan. On the black side, you might think of a Wyatt Walker or a Pauli Murray or a Dorothy Cotton or, you name it, or Ron Walters. People who are informing policymakers, or in terms of social movements, let's expand it to an Ella Jo Baker or a Septa McClark, informing social movements. He says we've shifted from that to what they call thought leaders. Well, that's not that meaning people who generate clicks, clickbait generators, eyeball attractors. They're not really impacting policy if they're unattached to institutions. So now you see people like the whole Fox network crew, Sean Hannity, thought leader, meaning what? He is supported and subsidized by a media institution that allows him to spew his nonsense, and then people do act on that, including at this point the President of the United States. What we just witnessed is the convergence of the thought leader move in our society with the explosion of social media. The reason we don't know any of these people, or the reason you keep track of them, because you have to. You're helping us filter this stuff. But for those of us who would never watch something like that, first of all, anybody calling themselves Hotep Jesus or Uncle Hotep has opened their mouth, as my mom would say, and put their brain on display. I would brand. No, I wouldn't do that, because the word Hotep, I said I was going to say I would brand the glyph in their forehead, but the word Hotep in the Meta Nature in Egyptian hieroglyphs literally means peace. So I should probably back off of that. But my point is that you've got people now, and a mind, remember that UNCF commercial back in the 70s, a mind is a terrible thing to waste. A mind is a terrible thing to underdevelop, because now everybody with a phone or a laptop can get on social media. Anybody who wants to talk can talk. These are not thought leaders. These are people generating clicks for clickbait, nor are they conservatives. They are branders. And so finally, what you started with is all we need to know about that conversation. It's very basic. This is about money. This is about watching them. This is about generating revenue. None of them have anything to say about anything that's going to either A, impact policy, or B, change the minds of anyone who will take a minute to reflect, to organize, to study, and to act in an informed manner. So that was a sideshow better for WWF wrestling. That's why he's talking about beating somebody's ass, which he ain't going to do.
So here's why I showed that, Erica, because again, these are the people Fox News elevates. I just need people to understand what the whole design is. Okay? Fox Nation, now they just dropped them. In no logical world would a TV executive give Diamond and Silk a show. It's a minstrel show.
That's absolutely.
But what do they set up? You take a Candace Owens who worked with the NAACP to get a settlement from a school district. TPUSA hires her. She's now in PragerU. Trump has her at the White House. 1 million followers. All these stories done on her. All like this great mass movement leader of black people away from the Democratic Party. But who is elevating her?
That's right.
Is there anything between those two ears? No. There's a reason why she will not debate me, been running for a whole year. But she'll challenge John Legend and Don Tito, people like that. And there are people out there who say, Roland, but we should ignore them. This is why that's not that simple. Mm-hmm. Because you have to understand how they are strategically used to serve different interests. Mm-hmm. Trump does the exact same thing. That crazy, ignorant comedian, I don't know what, he ain't even funny, Terrence Williams, same thing. You gotta understand, to Greg's point, the minstrel show and the grifter show. You gotta understand how they play this whole game and how they then elevate, these are the black people we should be listening to. So therefore, how they prop them up, they do their books in their speeches, and then I think it keeps going on and on. That's why you have a Larry Elder who will write a book called Stupid Black Men.
Yes.
He ain't trying to talk to black people. He's talking to white people. He's talking to white conservatives. And that's the game that you see being played. And that's why we call it out so folks understand. And let me be clear. There are black conservatives who have on this show who are real, who do care about the black community. We might differ on some policy issues. We might agree on some policy issues. There's a long history of black people being Republicans, okay? You could talk about Jackie Robinson. You could talk about any number of people. You can talk about folks who've served in Republican administrations. Bob Brown, who accompanied Coretta Scott King to pick up Dr. King's body. Who was on the board of the SCLC, goes from there to getting hired by Richard Nixon, and who played a crucial role in terms of driving things for black people. Just because he worked for Nixon didn't make him bad. So that happens. There are black people who worked in different administrations who've done that. Alfonso Jackson, Secretary of HUD under George W. Bush. I know Alfonso well. Again, we might differ on some issues, but agree on some other issues. These folks, the Brandon Tatums of the world, the Candace Owens of the world, they can't even step in the same room with those black Republicans. It's understanding the game, Erica.
Absolutely, Roland. And you laid it out. What's being presented for the public is information. And what they have yet to find out is that acquiescence to whiteness is not protection. It does not preclude any of the injustices that we have seen for years and years from happening to them. And since we're dropping gems, I'll drop something that my late Big Mama said to us, which is when you open your mouth, you remove all doubt. And so for Brandon Tatum, the moment I had to click off is when he began to invoke the name of George Zimmerman and O.J. Simpson, and then go on to, as you shared in that clip, talk about the people that have been victims of criminal activity by the people that executed, lynched them, that they had criminal background. You're talking about a black man, a person that is black, that is a former law enforcement officer. I'm very concerned about what his history was when he was on the police force, with the type of aggression that we saw in that video, with a muscle tight shirt on with the face of Donald Trump. So we do have to look at the minstrel show. We do have to have this type of information so that we can be even more engaged in understanding grifters and knowing that all of our skin folk damn sure ain't our kinfolk.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment. All right, fam, to all Roland Martin VIPs, you are invited to the Laugh Experience, taking place this Friday, May 15th at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern at Ceek.com. That's CEEK.com. Join me and let's laugh with comedian D.L. Hughley, Chris Spencer, D.L. Hughley, Chris Spencer, Bodacious, Ryan Davis, and Clint Coley. It's a first-of-its-kind virtual comedy show on Ceek.com. Ceek.com, remember, y'all, is the black website created by this sister. Y'all. You can watch it on your phone, your laptop, even in virtual reality. Now, I'll be there, and I hope you will be there as well. Now, remember, we had Mary on the show, of course, the creator of Ceek. She also is the one who created her own VR headset. So they have these available at Ceek.com. And so it's real simple. I was actually testing this out a couple of nights ago. Actually, it's pretty cool. And so just go ahead and zoom out, Anthony. And so it's real simple. You take your phone with this head. Now, there's some VR headsets where you can actually connect to the web and stuff along those lines. But this one here, what it allows for you to do is, so you actually have you go to the Ceek app, and so you can pull it up here, right here on your phone. And then what you do is you place your phone right into the VR headset, close it up, and then you're able to then put this on. And so what's going to happen is you put this VR headset on. Y'all, what's so cool about this is that it literally looks like you're in the room. So what's going to happen is they'll be live, and so you can sit here and you can look all around. You can look at the ceiling all around. It's going to be pretty cool. The first time ever, again, a virtual reality comedy showcase that's taking place this Friday. And so that's what it looks like once you're inside. You get to be able to look around on the inside of this room. It's pretty cool. And so you can do this again. It's created by a sister, this device and the site as well. She also created these 360-degree sound headphones. Y'all, these are boss. Okay, Bluetooth, as well as you could actually plug in. The Bluetooth creates the whole 360-degree sound, and so it's great for gaming as well. And so if you do use these, there's a promo code. Go ahead and write this down. The promo code. This is the headset right here. These are the headphones right here. You don't have to watch the virtual comedy showcase with your headphones. You can watch it right here on your phone. It's not a problem, but it does give you a whole different experience when you're watching it in virtual reality. And so what I want you guys to do is if you want to get these headphones, get this headset here, there's a promo code that you can enter in to be able to do so. And so let me pull that promo code up. And it's been, like I say, I've been having way too much fun with this whole deal here with these headsets. And this is called the world's first 4D 360-degree audio headphones, and of course, this is the mobile VR headset. And so that's what you have here. They have a special code for our followers here at Roland Martin Unfiltered. And so we're gonna pull that up. And where is it? I thought we had it here, and so we had all these different emails back and forth, and so I'm trying to find it. Promo code. All right, this is what you use. To buy the headset, to buy the headphones, go to Ceek.com, CEEK.com, and use RMVIP 2020. Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered ticket. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com.
Big developments in the case of Ahmaud Arbery, the black man shot and killed February 23rd by two white men as he was jogging down the street. First, the Georgia Attorney General has called on the Department of Justice to come in and investigate the district attorneys who were involved in this case. The initial DA, Janice Johnson, recused herself. Cops, though, in Glenn County Police Department say they wanted to arrest the two men involved, but she said no. The second prosecutor, George Barnhill, he absolved these two men, George McMichael, Travis McMichael, of the murder of Ahmaud Arbery, and then recused himself. And the third prosecutor took forever trying to make a decision before the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. They were called in and made an arrest within the first 36 hours. That's one issue. The second issue, that is, a special prosecutor has now been appointed in this case, a black woman from Cobb County who was a Republican appointee of Governor Brian Kemp. Also, over the weekend, this video was released showing Ahmaud Arbery inside of the home that was under construction. Oh, people on the right, conservatives, white folks, and white folks who think like black people who think like Candace Owens, raced and said, "Oh, here you go, Ahmaud Arbery. He wasn't jogging." They were saying that this is just like hands up, don't shoot. Well, the owner of that home said nothing was stolen. And all of a sudden, a bunch of people on social media, black, white, Latino, Asian, said, I've gone to look at houses like this before. What's the big deal? Okay, guys, we have the video rolling. So go ahead. All these things. Case. I want to bring in my legal panel right now. A. Scott Bolden, former National Bar Association Political Action Committee, Deep Day, Robert Patillo, civil rights attorney. All right, Robert, I'm going to go to you. So a lot of things happened, Robert, in the last 48 hours there in Georgia.
Well, you know, one of the interesting things about what you were just saying, that you have a lot of these conservative online bloggers with absolutely no legal experience or knowledge who are putting out disinformation about the liability and the ability to assert self-defense and or a citizen's arrest in Georgia. Understand one thing. We have a lot of case law in this state. You have Patel v. State, you have Brunson v. State, you have Carter v. State, which lay out when an individual can assert a claim of citizen's arrest, and none of it involves pulling a gun on somebody, chasing them with a pickup truck, surrounding them with three people, and then shooting them. With regards to self-defense, as has been thrown out there as an option for justification as to why this individual was shot. You cannot assert a claim of self-defense when you provoke the action. When you approach somebody with a gun drawn, with a shotgun, that person then has the right to defend themselves against you. There is no claim of self-defense. You have committed a felony yourself by pointing a shotgun at them of aggravated assault, and you lose all claims of self-defense. Anybody who's a Second Amendment advocate or a gun owner knows that you cannot brandish a weapon at somebody in a threatening manner. That is a felony charge in this state. So it's ridiculous the way they're trying to muddy the waters and sully what is going on. At most, Mr. Arbery was guilty of trespassing, And me and my wife, when we were building our house, we went through the neighborhood and we went through houses just like that to see what they were building inside of our houses. So I don't think that anyone can justify that being the basis for killing an individual. And if the facts were changed, if this wasn't a 25-year-old black man, if it was a 80-year-old white woman or a 20-year-old white cheerleader or something, and two rednecks had chased her down and shot her, I don't think we'd be having this argument.
Yodit Twelde. Again, all of a sudden, the Georgia AG wants DOJ to investigate these DAs for wrongdoing. You now, of course, have this video of people say, "Oh, here you go. Why is he in khaki shorts and Timberlands jogging?" Hell, you got people who jog in combat boots.
This is the part where they're going to try and make out this career criminal, that he was doing something wrong. And what we're doing is feeding into that, and we shouldn't. I don't care what he was doing on that property. At the end of the day, the McMichaels didn't see him commit a crime. That is the point. They said that Barnhill, that is, a second DA who recused himself, said that they were well within their rights to detain him, or at least try to detain Ahmaud, under the citizen's arrest law. And that's just incorrect. They can't believe or try and detain Ahmaud based on a belief, based on what they think they know. They didn't actually see him commit a crime, therefore the citizen's arrest law was not appropriate at the time. So while we sit here and argue about what he was doing, whether it's a normal thing to go through a property under construction or not, we have to keep focused on what the law is and what we know as facts. Right now, that just wasn't appropriate, and it would have been an illegal arrest, and therefore they can't now cry self-defense because they were approaching him when they shouldn't have.
Scott Bolden, I want to bring you in here again. When you look at these things that are coming out, the homeowner says nothing was stolen, and then all these people. I mean, I've had white conservatives, black folks, others who say, I've often gone into homes under construction, taking a look around, and people are saying, this happens all the time.
Your deed is completely correct. I mean, it's all irrelevant. It's ridiculous and irrelevant. The video actually helps the prosecution, because whatever the defense is going to be about their right to stop and their right for reasonableness just goes completely out the window. So what? And by the way, one thing we have not talked about is Tennessee v. Garner. I know my colleagues know that case, because I've written about it, that even the police cannot shoot a non-violent fleeing felon who is running from them, even if he was committing a felony. Here, he's not committing any crime. He's looking around. If he was trespassing, the only person that could stop him and file charges against him for trespassing isn't the defendant, isn't the arrestees, but the owner of the property. And they weren't around, and nothing was stolen. And so we have to keep perspective, as my colleagues have said here. This will be part of the defense, but that dog won't hunt, and it'll be highly insufficient or completely insufficient of a defense. You got a good judge, a former judge rather. I think Robert talked about this judge in Cobb County, or rather this prosecutor in Cobb County. She's a conservative, but that's okay. That means if she's a judge and she's a politically conservative, she's going to play it by the book. And if you play it by the book here, the only thing that matters is, do you have the elements for felony murder and aggravated assault here? You have that. This case is going to go to a jury, or it's going to be a plea, because nothing else really matters but the facts. And you've got two videos that tell the whole story.
This is also, of course, when you look at the calling in of the DOJ to investigate. I think that is, obviously, it's important. I'm not confident at all, though, Robert, in this Department of Justice when it comes to this issue. But something does stink when you have police officers saying they wanted to arrest these two men on the spot. Janice Johnson said no. The second DA weighs in, pretty much acts as the defense attorney for these two men, but then recuses himself. And the third attorney, I don't know what the hell he was doing for several weeks. It took the Georgia Bureau of Investigation literally 36 hours to come in and then do an arrest. This guy only announced after the video leaked, oh, I'm going to take it to a grand jury.
the DOJ investigation, not just look into the prosecutors, but they should look into the hate crimes elements with regard to particularly 18 USC 241, 242, and 249, because what we've seen throughout the South historically is the inability of local prosecutors to convict white defendants for killing black people in the South. You go all the way back to Cheney, Goodman, and Schwerner. You can go to Kenneth Walker. You can go through police shootings throughout the South. So you have to have that federal backstop there, both to investigate the deeds of these previous prosecutors, but also to ensure that if there is an acquittal or if there is no indictment in this case, because remember, you still have to have the grand jury with the Atlantic Judicial Circuit. We want to make sure you have as many bites of the apple from impartial and unbiased bodies to get a conviction. With regards to the Cobb County prosecutor who was appointed to be the special prosecutor in the case, we do need to keep an eye on this because, one, she is politically conservative. Two, she's only been on the job about a year. She's up for re-election this year, and so there's no guarantee that she will even be the prosecutor on the case if she does not win re-election. There are more experienced black prosecutors in the state, people like Sherry Boston in DeKalb County, Darius Patillo down in Henry County, who I think much of the legal community would like to see prosecuting this case. Also, remember the Ross Harris case, the man whose son was left in the back of a hot car. That case was removed from Cobb County and tried down in Brunswick. And there is a question as to whether or not there are conflicts between the chief murder investigator in that Cobb County DA's office, having worked in Brunswick and lived in Brunswick for 3 months during that trial.
Date, when we look at this whole deal here, I mean, it just boggles the mind that you could go through 3 DAs and none of them act until the video gets leaked and finally as an arrest in the Georgia Bureau investigation. I mean, they need to answer to themselves here. They are there to protect the public.
It's more than just removing these DAs from office. They actually need to be disbarred. This Barnhill guy, it's more shady than we actually know. And the AG in Georgia, Chris Carr, stated that there were things he didn't know when he appointed Barnhill, because the first DA, Jackie Johnson, recused herself. He had already been involved the day after the shooting. So he was involved before he was even appointed as a prosecutor. And not only that, the National Association of District Attorneys condemned him because he realized that he had a conflict of interest on April 2nd. On April 7th, he wrote a memo literally laying out why this killing was justified after he knew that he had a conflict of interest. How inappropriate, how beyond disgusting is that? This is someone who not only needs to be investigated, but his bar card needs to be in jeopardy.
Yo, Deep, what we call that memo was, you know what we call that memo, right? We call that memo leaving a defense for the defendants, even though he was going to be, he knew he was going to be out of the case. That he didn't have to write that memo at all. He voluntarily wrote that memo.
And Scott, to that point, I've never, ever seen a prosecutor write a memo that lays out completely every plausible defense, taints the jury pool in a way that will make it impossible to get a conviction at jurisdiction, and then have another conflict they do not disclose at the beginning of the case. Is completely outside the realm of any possibility.
He created this paper trail for the good old boys, as we say. He created the paper trail.
Wait, hold on. Hold on. Your D, then Scott. Your D, go ahead.
Okay.
What I was just going to say is I mean, he's not only making it difficult for the next prosecutor to try this case, but he's potentially tainting a jury pool. Literally hearing all of the defenses for the defense, and to put that in a memo format that was made public for anybody to read, it's disgusting. He needs to be removed and his bar license needs to be taken, period.
Right. It was done purposefully. It really was. I mean, there's no accident when you do that because prosecutors don't have to put everything in writing. But the uneven justice system in Georgia has to be looked at. I think Robert's right about this. This is a broader issue. When I was researching the updates on this case, there's a case in the AJC, the Journal-Constitution, about Shannon Brown. A former NBA player, won a couple rings, lives in Fayetteville, Georgia. Now, his house is up for sale, and 2 people came to see the house. Apparently, there was some dispute. He got his rifle and fired a shot, didn't hit anybody. 4 to 6 hours later, the couple who came to the house reported him to the police. He was arrested hours later and recently released to go back to his home. He didn't kill anybody. He was defending his property, and he was arrested within hours of them reporting it, and they delayed the report. It's just completely uneven justice and enforcement in Georgia, and we've got to do something about it on a broad basis. Prosecutors have a lot of discretion, but it's got to be more even across the state of Georgia, I think.
Well, they can start by getting rid of that citizens arrest law. I mean, it's
there's no question about it. It's worse than staying your ground.
Well, remember, Rainbow pursued the state of Georgia in 2013 to try to repeal some of these laws. It's very difficult when you have a majority of one party, a constitutional majority in the House, the Senate, and all judicial agencies in the governor's mansion. But I think this might be the groundswell support that people need to get out there in November and replace many of these officials, because it is impossible to make the changes that are needed to have justice in the system as long as you have antiquated laws that go back to the Jim Crow past of the state.
Yeah, but you got to elect blue Dems. You have to. You got to. The broader spectrum here is that this is a very red state. We know the corruption politically and civil rights, criminal justice system. But if black people vote in Georgia in numbers, we can change that red state to a blue state locally at the state level where these crimes matter, and those who prosecute them matter, and then the governor's race. That ought to be a priority, because politically, these are Republican decision makers making these decisions, not Democrats.
But it's not enough to like I said, it's not enough to just remove these people from office. These lawyers, these prosecutors need to stop practicing law, because they'll go somewhere else and practice and still do the same
You're
thing.
absolutely right. You're right. I couldn't disagree with you. I couldn't agree with you more. I've been at this a long time, perhaps longer than my colleagues on this panel, but I've never seen anything like it. And there's a lot that goes on wrong in the courtroom all around this country. But this is like something from a bad movie.
That keeps happening.
All right.
Over and over again.
All right, folks.
Sorry, Roland, lawyers talk a lot.
Yeah, no kidding, really.
He let us talk this time. God bless you, Roland.
Yeah, because you finally had something to say. There you go. Yo, D, Robert Scott. See, if you gonna open your mouth, I'm gonna hit you right back. All right, yo, D, Robert Scott. I really appreciate it. Thank you so very much.
Every single night, we've got some of the top black experts. You're not gonna see them on cable news or broadcast news, because you swear black people aren't experts when it comes to this health crisis. That's why we have this show and why we do what we do every day on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Joining us right now is retired General Russell Honore, the nation's first black Surgeon General, Dr. Joycelyn Elders. John Hope Bryant, he is the founder of Operation Hope. Senator Kamala Harris of California, Dr. Cedrina Calder, retired General Lloyd Austin, Congresswoman Karen Bass, Commissioner Omari Hardick, Bureau President in Brooklyn, Eric Adams, Dr. Joseph Graves, America's Wealth Coach, Deborah Owens, Dr. Corey Hebert, Patal Salt, Howard University student, Pastor Jamal Bryant, Dr. Christy McDowell, Benja Ajilore, senior economist at the Center for American Progress, Gilda Daniels, again, author of the book, The Crisis of Voter Suppression in America. 4 stars, General Kip Ward, Dr. Oliver Brooks is president of the National Medical Association, president of the American Medical Association, Dr. Patrice Harris, Joby Benjamin, Dr. Alexia Gaffney, infectious disease specialist, Dr. Georges Benjamin, executive director of the American Public Health Association, Malcolm Nance, family medicine physician, Dr. Jen Caudle, Dr. Tashaka Cunningham, a molecular biologist, Kat Stafford. She's a national race and ethnicity reporter for the Associated Press. Dr. Wayne A.I. Frederick, who is the president of Howard University, Congresswoman Yvette Clarke from the state of New York, William Spriggs, AFL-CIO economist, Andrea James, executive director of the National Council for Incarcerated and Formerly Incarcerated Women and Girls. All right, let's go to Capitol Hill. Congressman Gregory Meeks, Congresswoman Eddie Bernice Johnson of Texas, Congresswoman Barbara Lee, Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar, mental health clinician Jamie Singletary, Prince George's County State's Attorney Aisha Brayboy, as well as Dylan Hayrie, ACLU Justice Division strategist. Dr. Cindy Duke, she is a virologist. Principal Steve Perry of Capitol Press. Health and wellness specialist Dr. Yolandra Hancock, Desmond Meade, president the Florida Rights Restoration Coalition, Cliff Albright, who is the co-founder of Black Voters Matter, Michael Harriot with the Root, the Mina McWhorter, founder of Love by the Hand, Dr. Julian Malvo, economist, president, emerita at Bennett College, coroner Michael Fowler, is a mayor of Atlanta, Keisha Lance Bottoms, mental health therapist Suzette Clark, Justin Gibney, attorney and political strategist, and Bishop Vincent Matthews Jr., Dr. Suzette McKinney, CEO and executive director of the Illinois Medical District, Dr. Leon Madugal, president-elect of the National Medical Association, Jana Bailey, Mayor of Moss Point, Mississippi, Mario King. We're going to keep driving this thing to make sure our people are fully aware, safe, protected from coronavirus. You getting the top medical experts, the top business experts, top political experts, top religious experts, because that's why we do what we do. Unapologetically and unfiltered. Ain't nobody else in the black media space doing what we do. Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. Today, his attorneys held a news conference where they made it clear that people should say that Travis McMichael and Gregory McMichael are innocent until proven guilty. Here is some of that news conference.
In some countries, when the government accuses you of a crime, you have a show trial. You get convicted and you get sent to prison. Or even worse, you disappear altogether. But we understand here that when the government accuses you of a crime, how easy it is to accuse. And so we have that presumption of innocence. And we have that due process of law with rights for every individual accused of a crime. We need to be mindful of those rights that are embedded in the very fabric of our society, that are promises made by our Constitution, a document we hold up to other countries as an example of how government should function. And so I implore all of you, members of the media, reporters, journalists, commentators, and the listeners and readers that follow your lead. Don't rush to judgment. Our evidence in a court of law, whether it's in Glenn County or someplace else, the government will have an opportunity to present its evidence in a court of law, and then, and only then you can judge.
Our cases, the tragedies associated with these cases. Mr. Arbery's death is a tragedy. As attorneys who are stepping into this case, we feel an immense responsibility to be respectful, to be ethical, to be conscientious, to have a commitment to the truth. And we are going to shoulder the responsibility of that commitment to the truth and to those core values that we as attorneys hold dear to ourselves and our profession. That is our promise to you all. That is our promise to the community here in Brunswick, to the families, and to the individuals.
You know, it's amazing to listen to them, Erica, talk about presumption of innocence, no rush to judgment, yet their clients rush to judgment, accusing Ahmaud Arbery of theft. chased after him with guns. He's dead. They're still alive.
GTFOH. The execution, the lynching of Ahmaud Arbery, that blood is not going away. And for other people to understand that are following this case and to see that whether or not Travis is going to have bond, whether the other Klansmen, I don't recall his name, is going to have bond, this is a long road ahead. They have already had private Facebook groups, many of which that have been dismantled, GoFundMe pays, many of those that have been taken down. So we're going to have to play the long game, because the other piece of this is whether or not that case is tried in Glenn County, Atlanta, or somewhere else, that we're going to have to look to see what that jury is comprised of. If that jury is not reflective of the now deceased Ahmaud Arbery and his family and the rising majority of America, then we've got some real serious outcomes to be concerned about. And this is also why people need to be registered to vote, so that they can sit on those juries for cases like this. And so as we listen to these attorneys bring out the diversity piece, talk about other countries, in this United States of America since 1704, slave patrols have been the order of law. And so us wanting to see change means that we have to be very active, that we have to, number one, ensure that we are engaged, not just in the short term, not just for hashtags, not just for runs, but for however long this case plays out. But then also make sure that we are doing what we can to make sure that, number one, Travis and his father don't get bond. If that means sending out emails, calling the DA's office, but then also ensuring that we are registered voters, so that when cases like this unfortunately continue to come up, that we can be on those juries and make sure that justice is served.
Reese, again, listen to those attorneys. Look, I get it. I mean, he's your client, but what y'all are asking for, they didn't do to Mr. Arbery.
I mean, frankly, I listened to that and I just thought, ain't that about a bitch? How dare you sit up there and talk about the presumption of innocence? How dare you wave around the Constitution after you executed a Black man who was minding his damn business, who was jogging and not doing anything to anybody? It's actually sickening to hear, and they probably really believe that shit, and that's what's even more infuriating. As far as Gregory McMichael goes, when you listen to these 911 tapes and this like that, all that is establishing a pre-alibi. It's establishing a pretext to go and conduct an execution like what they did to Ahmaud Arbery. And, you know, I looked into their background a little bit more, and I hope you don't mind that I'm reading this, Roland, but Gregory McMichael actually had a lapse in state-mandated training for things like community-oriented policing, de-escalation, use of force. And that was between 2006 and 2004, where that meant he was not empowered by, even though he was a chief investigator for the DA's office, to issue arrests. And so it's so ironic that a person who for 8 years had this power suspended from him because he did not have the proper training, or he disregarded the mandate to have that proper training, turn around and took it upon himself to make what he called a citizen's arrest. But what it really is like Erica said, it's a lynching. It's a slave patrol. It's disgusting. And I this whole, you know, high ground and trying to appeal to people on the basis of Constitution and presumption of innocence, it's all bullshit.
Greg.
Well, brother, I share Reese's righteous indignation, and I think Erica has nailed it. First of all, yes, they may have taken down the GoFundMes and tried to blunt it on social media, but when you hire Peters, Rubin, Sheffield, and Hodges out of Atlanta, you've got some money. So the first thing we see is
hold on. You have some money, or is some money behind you?
I'm sorry, brother.
Right.
Let me amend what I said to say what you said. Somebody is giving them money to hire these high-powered lawyers. These ain't country lawyers.
No.
The first guy, Bob Rubin.
Because these two ain't got no money.
No question. That's number one. So we now see that, as you say, the Klan then rallied around its own because they done paid that retainer fee. And Rubin, Bob Rubin, the first guy who spoke, Rubin was the lead lawyer in, I'm sure you remember, I know you covered it, the Atlanta Public Schools, the RICO prosecution of those black principals in Atlanta for that test cheating scandal. Rubin came out of Emory. He spent time for the working with Fulton County as a public defender, then worked with the state as an assistant attorney general for the state, prosecuting Medicare fraud. So this guy has a deep training. His friend Sheffield, since 2015, Sheffield, the second lawyer who spoke, he's been traveling overseas with Rubin and one of the other lawyers to train new lawyers in the Republic of Georgia that just broke from the Soviet Union on how to select juries. So what Erica said is very important. The first thing we're going to have to find out is whether they're going to change the venue from Glenn County. And they're going to fight like hell, I suspect, to keep the venue there. Then you're going to get into jury selection. These aren't country lawyers. They've been doing jury selection. They go overseas to teach other countries, lawyers in other countries, how to select a jury. They are going to introduce, finally, and if Scott was here, he'd say the same thing, they're going to introduce a real blizzard to talk about reasonable doubt. When we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, releasing that video galvanized our community, but it was necessarily something that damned them. Now you release this report, this 911 call to basically establish that these police adjacent vigilantes, because they ain't just out there. These guys used to be cops, so they were affiliated with criminal justice system. They're out there basically serving as a neighborhood watch. All you got to do is seat the right jury, introduce enough of a snowstorm to get them to introduce reasonable doubt, and these guys walk. And they got the right firm in Peters, Rubin, Sheffield, and Hodges, brother. I'm afraid.
Now, what's interesting about this is that a lot of people, I mean, this is arguably the one story like this where even a lot of white folks have been commenting on social media. What happened to him was wrong. Eric Erickson, big-time conservative, far right there in Georgia, was going, y'all could try to explain this all the way. That man did not deserve to die. I don't recall previous cases where you saw that. All right, folks, back to that Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment. All right, fam, to all Roland Martin VIPs, you are invited to the Laugh Experience, taking place this Friday, May 15th at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern at Ceek.com. That's CEEK.com. Join me and let's laugh with comedian D.L. Hughley, Chris Spencer, Chris Spencer, Bodacious, Ryan Davis, and Clint Coley. It's a first-of-its-kind virtual comedy show on Ceek.com. Ceek.com, remember, y'all, is the black website created by this sister. Y'all. You can watch it on your phone, your laptop, even in virtual reality. Now, I'll be there, and I hope you will be there as well. Now, remember, we had Mary on the show, of course, the creator of Ceek. She also is the one who created her own VR headset. So they have these available at Ceek.com. And so it's real simple. I was actually testing this out a couple of nights ago. Actually, it's pretty cool. And so just go ahead and zoom out, Anthony. And so it's real simple. You take your phone with this hit. Now, there's some VR headsets where you can actually connect to the web and stuff along those lines. But this one here, what it allows for you to do is, so you actually have you go to the Ceek app, and so you can pull it up here, right here on your phone. And then what you do is you place your phone right into the VR headset, close it up, and then you're able to then put this on. And so what's going to happen is you put this VR headset on. Y'all, what's so cool about this is that it literally looks like you're in the room. So what's going to happen is they'll be live, and so you can sit here and you can look all around. You can look at the ceiling all around. It's going to be pretty cool. The first time ever, again, a virtual reality comedy showcase that's taking place this Friday. And so that's what it looks like once you're inside. You get to be able to look around on the inside of this room. It's pretty cool. And so you can do this again. It's created by a sister, this device and the site as well. She also created these 360-degree sound headphones. Y'all, these are boss. Okay, Bluetooth, as well as you could actually plug in. The Bluetooth creates the whole 360-degree sound, and so it's great for gaming as well. And so if you do use these, there's a promo code. Go ahead and write this down. The promo code. This is the headset right here. These are the headphones right here. You don't have to watch the virtual comedy showcase with your headphones. You can watch it right here on your phone. It's not a problem, but it does give you a whole different experience when you're watching it in virtual reality. And so what I want you guys to do is if you want to get these headphones, get this headset here, there's a promo code that you can enter in to be able to do so. And so let me pull that promo code up. And it's been, like I say, I've been having way too much fun with this whole deal here with these headsets. And this is called the world's first 4D 360-degree audio headphones, and of course this is the mobile VR headset, and so that's what you have here. They have a special code for our followers here at Roland Martin Unfiltered, and so we're gonna pull that up. And where is it? I thought we had it here, and so we had all these different emails back and forth, and so I'm trying to find it. Promo code. All right, this is what you use. To buy the headset, to buy the headphones, go to Ceek.com, CEEK.com, and use RMVIP 2020. Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered channel. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. Folks, Breonna Taylor, 26 years old, EMT in Louisville. She wanted to be a nurse. She was out there working on behalf of the people who were impacted by COVID-19. Well, on March 13th, she was in her apartment with her boyfriend. Around midnight, cops busted into the apartment. Her boyfriend, not knowing who they were, began to fire shots at them. More than 20 bullets were fired by the cops. When it all was done, Breonna Taylor was dead. Last month, her family filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the Louisville Police Department who executed the search. This is what the Washington Post, this is a story by Erin Haynes in partnership with the Washington Post, wrote. She's with the 19th, which is an organization, journalism organization focused on women's issues. Look at this, folks, here. This is actually stunning. According to the lawsuit, filed April 27th, Louisville police executed a search warrant at Taylor's home, looking for a man who did not live in Taylor's apartment complex and had already been detained when officers came to Taylor's apartment after midnight. Taylor's boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, was also in the apartment and, according to the lawsuit, shot at officers when they attempted to enter without announcing themselves. The lawsuit alleges that police fired more than 20 rounds of ammunition into the apartment. This, Amisha, is a stunning story. To look at the details that you're executing a warrant for a guy who doesn't live in the complex. They then find out that the guy who they were looking for was already in police custody. She's dead, 26. No one has talked to her mother to explain what the hell happened.
The whole time you were going over that case, I was sitting here trying not to cry, just because not only is it extremely egregious and particularly disturbing, it's also the fact that there is such gross negligence on behalf of the police in this case that I'm almost at a loss for words. Because at any given point, and we've seen this happen in other cases where doors are, bust down, people are shot when the police wind up at a house that they're not supposed to be at, or they're chasing someone who doesn't live in the area that they're actually looking to. But to actually already have this person in custody and to still go out and commit that type of atrocity is beyond me. To fire that many rounds, just my heart goes out to this young woman's mother, because this is something that was completely preventable. And I'm just wondering at this point, what happens? Where do we go from here? Where's the accountability for this policing entity? Where's the accountability for the officers on the scene? Where's the accountability for those who sent them to that address? Where's the accountability for the entire department who should have known where this guy was? That level of brutality, that level of a mistake that it ends in somebody's death and complete murder in that way is something that is just unforgivable.
Kelly, I'm going to read this here. Go back to my iPad. None of the officers involved have been charged in connection with the shooting. Walker, her boyfriend, a licensed gun owner who was not injured in the incident, was arrested and faces charges of first-degree assault and attempted murder of a police officer. How in the hell can you be facing charges when the police bust into the apartment unannounced? You don't know who the hell is busting in. You licensed with a gun. Your deal is, I'm protecting me and my girlfriend. And now he's facing charges?
That part is the most disturbing to me, outside of the fact that this young woman is dead. Because especially in states like Kentucky, I am almost 100% sure that the castle doctrine is still in full effect for private citizens in terms of protecting your home and self-defense. So if somebody is entering your dwelling place and they don't announce themselves as police, they say nothing in terms of saying that they're law enforcement, that it's an emergency, nothing like that. You just hear somebody breaking and entering your dwelling place. That's a fight or flight situation. More so, that is a situation in which you have the right to retaliate because somebody is entering your sanctuary, your safe space. So the fact that this young man is being charged for defending himself for the attempted murder of a police officer, which means that police officer didn't die. But you know who did? His girlfriend, the person that he was trying to protect in his dwelling place. That's absolutely disgusting to me. The fact that they even had the wherewithal and the insensitivity to charge somebody with the attempted murder of somebody who killed his loved one. They should all be ashamed of themselves. Absolutely. Every single one of them involved with this case, from the person who dispatched those police officers to the house, to the people who didn't do the necessary protocol to let people know that they had the person in custody before they were dispatched to the house. All levels of communication responsible for this incident happening should be ashamed of themselves, especially the person who pressed charges on behalf of this young man. Because all he was doing is what a white person would have done should somebody try to go into their dwelling place.
Malik,
police officer or not.
Malik, not sure if I've seen the NRA stand up for this gun owner.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't heard anything from the NRA on this. I've been on your show since probably almost since the beginning. And we've had these conversations. We've seen these scenarios play out over and over again. Immediately came to mind of the when the police ended up going around the lady's house, shining a light in her house, and then ended up shooting, I think, through the screen door. This is disturbing. The entire situation is disturbing from the dispatch, because they were dispatched. Somebody dispatched them to that location. So from the beginning, this was wrong. And it ended up with the young lady, the young man's girlfriend, dead. But what else are you supposed to do? It kind of reminds me of what we were talking about with Ahmaud's death. What are you supposed to do when you see someone, you're running down the street, you're looking at them, a truck in the middle of the road, and you see someone with a gun? What are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to do, Trayvon Martin, when you're walking and you see some suspicious old-looking man following behind you, and you have Arizona tea and Skittles in your hand? What are you supposed to do when you're sitting in your house and you hear that people, or you feel as if people are breaking into your home? You have a gun. You try to defend yourself. And it's so unfortunate that his girlfriend is dead, but now we have the layer of attempted murder, not manslaughter or second-degree manslaughter or anything like that. Attempted murder. I'm hoping that there's a similar public outrage to this. And I'll just say, whether you are Black, white, Asian, Hispanic, or whatever, the police should not come to your home and do what they did. They should not come home to your home and kill the people who are in your own house. So it's unacceptable at all levels. And the fact that we continue to hear these type of story of police abuses, because that's what this is, of police abuses, it's sad, it's disturbing, it's unfortunate, and I wish we weren't here.
Folks, about 9 p.m. Tonight, Tamika Mallory, she is going to have a conversation with Breonna's mother on her Instagram live page. You want to check that out. And then she'll be talking with Ben Crump on Facebook after that. We certainly will be talking to both of them on this show tomorrow. It is an absolutely stunning story, all across the board. But again, 26-year-old, this sister, 26 years old, minding her own business in her apartment, spending time with her boyfriend. She is dead because Louisville, Kentucky police knocked on the wrong door. The guy they were looking for was already in police custody. And the fact that this took place on March 13th, and here we are almost 2 months later, and not a single police officer has been disciplined for the death of Breonna Taylor. That, folks, is absolutely stunning. And I would love to hear the NRA why they're not standing up with a boyfriend, a licensed gun owner, for trying to protect him and his girlfriend. Yet the cops are hitting him with attempted murder charges. That, to me, folks, is just unbelievable. Just makes no sense whatsoever. Every single night. We've got some of the top Black experts. You're not going to see them on cable news or broadcast news because you swear Black people aren't experts when it comes to this health crisis. That's why we have this show and why we do what we do every day on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Joining us right now is retired General Russell Honore, the nation's first Black Surgeon General, Dr. Joycelyn Elders. John Hope Bryant, he is the founder of Operation Hope. Senator Kamala Harris of California, Dr. Sadrina Calder, retired General Lloyd Austin, Congresswoman Karen Bass, Commissioner Omari Hardick, Bureau President in Brooklyn, Eric Adams, Dr. Joseph Graves, America's Wealth Coach, Deborah Owens, Dr. Corey Abear, Patel Saul, Howard University student, Pastor Jamal Bryant, Dr. Christy McDowell, Benja Ajilore, Senior Economist at the Center for American Progress, Gilda Daniels, again, author of the book, The Crisis of Voter Suppression in America. 4 stars, General Kip Ward, Dr. Oliver Brooks, is President of the National Medical Association, President of the American Medical Association, Dr. Patrice Harris, Joby Benjamin, Dr. Alexia Gaffney, Infectious Disease Specialist, Dr. Georges Benjamin, Executive Director of the American Public Health Association, Malcolm Nance, Family Medicine Physician, Dr. Jen Caudle, Dr. Tashaka Cunningham, a molecular biologist, Kat Stafford. She's a national race and ethnicity reporter for the Associated Press. Dr. Wayne A.I. Frederick, who is the president of Howard University, Congresswoman Yvette Clarke from the state of New York, William Spriggs, AFL-CIO economist, Andrea James, executive director of the National Council for Incarcerated and Formerly Incarcerated Women and Girls. All right, let's go to Capitol Hill. Congressman Gregory Meeks, Congresswoman Eddie British Johnson of Texas, Congresswoman Barbara Lee, Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar, mental health clinician Jamie Singletary, Prince George's County State's Attorney Aisha Brayboy, as well as Dylan Hayrie, ACLU Justice Division strategist. Dr. Cindy Duke, she is a virologist. Principal Steve Perry of Capitol Prep. Health and wellness specialist Dr. Yolandra Hancock. Desmond Meade, president of the Florida Rights Restoration Coalition. Cliff Albright, who is the co-founder of Black Voters Matter. Michael Harriet with the group. Domina McWhorter, founder of Love by the Hand. Dr. Julianne Malvo, economist, president, Emerita Bennett College. Coroner Michael Fowler is the mayor of Atlanta. Keisha Lance Bottoms, mental health therapist. Suzette Clark, Justin Gibney, attorney and political strategist, and Bishop Vincent Matthews Jr. Dr. Suzette McKinney, CEO and executive director of the Illinois Medical District. Dr. Leon Madugal, president-elect of the National Medical Association. Jana Bailey, mayor of Moss Point, Mississippi, Mario King. We're going to keep driving this thing to make sure our people are fully aware, safe, protected from coronavirus. You getting the top medical experts, top business experts, top political experts, top religious experts, because that's why we do what we do. Unapologetically and unfiltered. Ain't nobody else in the black media space doing what we do. Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. White woman in Marietta, Georgia, Cobb County, gets pulled over by the cops. This is not a practical joke. This is real dash cam video. Watch this.
Raise your hand to the door. Now listen to me. Call the person that was coming to get you. Tell them they don't need to come. All right? Yes. Okay? So go ahead and call them. I'm going to take you to jail, and I'm going to impound the car.
Before that, she needs to go to...
No.
I can't call them if you don't open the door.
Why can't you?
Because I will not put my...
Use your phone. It's in your lap right there.
I just don't want to put my hands down. I'm really sorry.
You're just really wrong.
No. I've just seen way too many videos of problems.
But you're not black. Remember, we only kill black people. Yeah, we only kill black people, right? All the videos you've seen, have you seen black people get killed? You have.
I don't know what's in his heart, but I certainly know what came out of his mouth, and it's inexcusable, and we have to take appropriate action. The recommendation is to terminate his employment from the Cobb County Police Department.
Scott.
Wow.
We only shoot black people.
Wow. How? You know what, Roland? I think I got you. I saw the video.
No, you're here. Go ahead.
Wow. That he actually said that as a professional, whatever your profession is, that he should be fired for just being dumb and making dumb statements. I can live with him being a racist, but he shouldn't put that on us and put that on somebody in public. He didn't even know who that woman was, and he wasn't gonna, and he admitted that. So that's what's in his head and heart. But I must tell you, as a former prosecutor, I'm gonna tell you, there are a lot of police officers around this country who really think like that. When they refer to black and brown defendants or people being arrested, they refer to them as dogs, mopes, perps, inhumane terms that now, if they say that in the confines of the complaint office of the DA's office, what do you think they say and do and feel and how they perceive people of color in the public, where they're King Kong, that they control the narrative on the street? There's a direct correlation between that. And so I'm not surprised that he feels that way. I'm surprised that he said it, but he said it because he felt safe, because presumably the person he was talking to was white, and he presumed they felt the same way too.
That is a crazy video, Mustafa.
Mm-hmm. Very much so.
Unfortunately, it's the reality that all of us know is going on. And it plays out in the numbers. We know that more people of color, black and brown folks, get pulled over for traffic stops, many times for no real justification or no real reason behind it. And then they continue to escalate in that situation. And when you do that disproportionately, that plays into why more folks are actually also getting killed. And it goes back to the root of each individual. And unfortunately, and I have law enforcement folks in my family, you know, that there are those who believe that, you know, black and brown people's lives have less value, that we're more violent, and a number of other, you know, false facts.
Lauren.
Yeah, I mean, pretty amazing. You'd like to think that he was being facetious or he might have been joking, but either way, it's not going to work. And I'm just glad to see that they decided to fire, or they decided to recommend that he be terminated.
Look, I mean, to sit there and again, you have the sheriff going, I don't know what's in his heart, but I know what he said. But for you to say something like that, yeah, trust me, it's exactly how you feel. And so that
But
is
Roland, he
just
said that to comfort that white woman.
Right.
He said that to comfort that white woman. Think about that.
Right, like, baby, don't worry about it. We ain't gonna shoot you. We ain't gonna shoot you. You're fine. We ain't gonna shoot you. But again, but for that to come out of your mouth speaks to exactly how you feel about black folks. It's what it does. You make it clear how you feel about black folks. All right, folks, back to that Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment. All right, fam, to all Roland Martin VIPs, you are invited to the Laugh Experience taking place this Friday, May 15th at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern at Ceek.com. That's CEEK.com. Join me and let's laugh with comedian D.L. Hughley, Chris Spencer, D.L. Hughley, Chris Spencer, Bodacious, Ryan Davis, and Clint Coley. It's a first-of-its-kind virtual comedy show on Ceek.com. Ceek.com, remember, y'all, is the black website created by this sister. Y'all. You can watch it on your phone, your laptop, even in virtual reality. Now, I'll be there, and I hope you will be there as well. Now, remember, we had Mary on the show, of course, the creator of Ceek. She also is the one who created her own VR headset. So they have these available at Ceek.com. And so it's real simple. I was actually testing this out a couple of nights ago. Actually, it's pretty cool. And so just go ahead and zoom out, Anthony. And so it's real simple. You take your phone with this head. Now, there's some VR headsets where you can actually connect to the web and stuff along those lines. But this one here, what it allows for you to do is, so you actually have you go to the Ceek app, and so you can pull it up here, right here on your phone. And then what you do is you place your phone right into the VR headset, close it up, and then you're able to then put this on. And so what's going to happen is you put this VR headset on. Y'all, what's so cool about this is that it literally looks like you're in the room. So what's going to happen is they'll be live, and so you can sit here and you can look all around. You can look at the ceiling all around. It's going to be pretty cool. The first time ever, again, a virtual reality comedy showcase that's taking place this Friday. And so that's what it looks like once you're inside. You get to be able to look around on the inside of this room. It's pretty cool. And so you can do this again. It's created by a sister, this device and the site as well. She also created these 360-degree sound headphones. Y'all, these are boss, okay? Bluetooth, as well as you could actually plug in. The Bluetooth creates the whole 360-degree sound, and so it's great for gaming as well. And so if you do use these, there's a promo code. Go ahead and write this down. The promo code. This is the headset right here. These are the headphones right here. You don't have to watch the virtual comedy showcase with your headphones. You can watch it right here on your phone. It's not a problem, but it does give you a whole different experience when you're watching it in virtual reality. And so what I want you guys to do is if you want to get these headphones, get this headset here, there's a promo code that you can enter in to be able to do so. And so let me pull that promo code up. And it's been, like I say, I've been having way too much fun with this whole deal here, with these headsets. And this is called the world's first 4D 360-degree audio headphones, and of course this is the mobile VR headset, and so that's what you have here. They have a special code for our followers here at Roland Martin Unfiltered, and so we're gonna pull that up. And where is it? I thought we had it here, and so we had all these different emails back and forth, and so I'm trying to find it. Promo code. All right, this is what you use. To buy the headset, to buy the headphones, go to Ceek.com, CEEK.com, and use RMVIP 2020. Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered ticket. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. As Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. Folks, on Ahmaud Arbery's birthday, thousands around the country joined with hashtag Run With Maud movement and documented their 2.23 mile runs using the hashtag. Well, a former pastor in Vero Beach, Florida, ran more than 2 miles while clutching a flat screen TV to prove that the color of his skin was enough to protect him from the fatal treatment that Ahmaud received. Watch this.
Hey guys, going on a nice leisurely jog here in the south, in a suburb, carrying a TV, and perfectly safe. Wonder why that is. I run with Ahmaud. All right, I figured it out. I've got my hat on backwards. I'm shirtless, like I'm on some episode of Cops. I'm running with the TV. Someone's gonna stop me now for sure. Because if not, what was the problem with Ahmaud? Hey, Mom. When I told you I was gonna run through a neighborhood carrying a TV, did you worry for my safety?
No.
Did you think someone would call the police?
No, of course not.
Huh. I wonder why that is.
Joining us now is that former pastor, Richard Desmond. Richard, welcome to Roland Martin Unfiltered.
It's absolutely my pleasure to be here. Well, not to be funny, but it's my privilege.
That was that video that you did that's gone viral. A lot of people have been talking about it. And you said that here you are running down the street with a TV, and people are just waving at you. How you doing? Like literally gave no thought. Why is this dude running down the street with a TV on his shoulder?
None whatsoever, and I knew that people weren't going to react. I knew the police weren't going to be called. I could have made good money betting with some people on that one, I guess. But the reality is, I've even walked into half-built houses, been caught one time by the owner, and he ended up showing me around after we talked for a little bit, told me to come back in a week and see how his progress had gone.
That's crazy. And see, what's interesting about this is so many people, since the story became national, Arbery's story, people have been saying, black people, white people saying, I always do this. Now, look, the house I had constructed, I didn't walk in the damn house but one time because I'm like, I don't see what the heck is going on. I'll come back when the walls are up and it's all done. But that's a thing. But all of a sudden, what you're proving in your video is that when you change the color of the person's skin, it changes people's whole view of that situation.
And Roland, let me be clear about this. I was the kind of person that when I first heard the concept white privilege, I didn't think it existed and argued against it because when I thought of privilege, I thought of sipping champagne on a yacht.
There you go.
And just living in luxury. What I didn't understand is the basic human decency that people of color don't experience.
Well, you know what? What you just said is what I have long said, that the problem with the phrase white privilege is that, yeah, most people hear white privilege and they think an aristocrat, they think a WASP, they think somebody who is rich, not realizing that you can be the brokest white person in the world, but you get white privilege just because you're white.
One of the things that has really come out to this, because I've been invited to all these amazing conversations and I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm figuring things out for the first time, is that a lot of people of color, they don't know how little we know as the white community. We hear about this every once in a while.
Yeah, we do.
Some do. Yeah, some do. But a lot of us are ignorant. We just don't know how bad the problem is.
Well, actually, in Dr. King's book, Chaos or Community, Where Do We Go From Here, he talked about it. He said, white people literally have no idea about their own lack of understanding about Americans' racial history. And they live in sheer denial. And so when things happen, they go, oh my God. I mean, I'll give a perfect example. When 2012, I was in Columbia, South Carolina. Eric Erickson, big time conservative, far right, then working for redstate.com. We were standing outside the hotel. We had gotten to the hotel. I rode with him from Charleston to Columbia. CNN says, hey, we need y'all to get to the venue earlier than we thought. We quickly get dressed. We go downstairs, and we're waiting outside for the car. This Asian woman gets out of her car. We're both standing. We're suited and booted. Now, I've got tie on, pocket square. I'm dressed way better than Eric, okay? But she literally walks up to me and sticks out her keys. And Eric goes, wow. I look at her, I'm like, I don't park damn cars. And Eric said, what you just said, Eric said, Roland, all these years, I have heard black people describe this very situation, and I felt that they were just, not making it up, but just embellishing, and it wasn't that big of a deal. He said, this is the first time I saw with my own eyes what black people experience, and he was just blown away. He went on his radio show that following Monday and talked about it, and he said, I had never experienced it, and that's part of the deal. I think what these videos have done, these videos have shown white people, and it's like, damn, these black people were not joking. This stuff actually happens.
Just like the Vietnam War, when all of a sudden people saw the videos of the horrors of war, it kind of woke them up to it and said, this isn't okay. I think that the videos of Ahmaud, I mean, that's what happened to me. It was a compound effect. There were some videos that led up to this, but when I saw Ahmaud's, I still sometimes close my eyes and I see him dying. And it's what compelled me to say, okay, this is a human problem. We need to speak up, and the people in my community need to speak up. And I applaud Sean King for giving me very simple instructions, because that's the thing. I am a millennial. I do as little as possible typically. He made it really easy for me to know what to do. He told me exactly what to do. I just carried a TV while doing it.
Well, I think that I want to bring in my panel right here, Rob, Chris, and Brittany. I'm sure they have some questions for you. Brittany, I want to start with you.
Sure. I applaud you for what you've done. Thank you so much for bringing attention to this. I thought you brought up a really excellent point about saying, white folks in this country are really ignorant. What I think is interesting, and this is me coming from the educational perspective, do you feel as though race and racial history in the country is something that you learned when you were growing up through the secondary school system and perhaps even in college?
I mean, I think I heard the Cliff Notes versions of it, and I independently studied a lot on Martin Luther King Jr., but I've probably learned more about the history of race in the last week than I have in my entire schooling.
Chris, your question for Richard Desmond.
Yeah, Richard, first of all, I want to say I think it's phenomenal what you did, and I think it's truly inspiring, and I hope others can do the same. But I really want to understand your faith, and I think it's phenomenal. And so, what was your real inspiration? I know you talked to Sean King, but what was your inspiration and the impact that you really wanted to make? What inspired you to do so, and what kind of impact did you really expect to make when you first thought of this?
I was really hoping that I would get 1,000 views. So you got to understand this. Like, this is totally unexpected, and it's opened my eyes to just the need for people, or maybe the lack of support of people in my community speaking up against this issue. There's a lot of us that do care. So now I'm kind of going, okay, now that this reaction has taken place and I'm learning all about the problem, my eyes are opening, what's next. Right. And because the forethought wasn't much, it was just something needs to be done. It was a compound effect. And yeah, my hero and inspiration is, of course, Jesus Christ, which a lot of people think of as a shockingly bleached skin, fine robe wearing religious man, but he actually was a revolutionary who created the first society that all people of all walks of life called each other brothers and sisters. And so I hope to follow in his footsteps as best I can and try to figure out how to create bridges for unity in these very complex cultural problems that we've had for hundreds of years. My part is probably going to be small in that, but I want to do whatever I can.
Rob?
First of all, I also want to share in applauding for what you've done. And Chris kind of asked my question, but I have a follow-up to that. So it sounds like, if I'm correct, you were inspired and really changed your perspective seeing the injustice of what happened to Ahmaud Arbery. If that's the case, how do you think we have to I want you to take yourself back to the mindset you have and I think the reaction to when you hear something like white privilege. I think it's you described it best. Somebody is rich or something like that. But there's also this automatic reaction because people are like, well, that's just a way of trying to blame me for something. I didn't do anything wrong. I'm not a racist. I didn't kill Ahmaud Arbery. How do we, because I think we as Black people can talk about it forever and we have to live it. We have to go through it. We have no choice. How do you think we can reach more people in your congregation and others who might have the same initial reaction to say like, well, I didn't kill Ahmaud Arbery, so why should I be concerned about that?
Well, I think one of the things that happened with me that has really helped me become not only a one-time TikTok video guy, but somebody who wants to take up this mantle is by the reception that I've gotten, that it was so welcomed and I've been invited into conversations like this. And I just absolutely am floored and amazed and honored to be part of these conversations. So that's part of it. But what I'll say is, to speak on one of the things you kind of reference is, I'm not a racist, right? I'm not a racist. So the moment you call someone a racist, they're immediately always trying to think of the reason why they're not a racist. And they'll always find something. Everybody, no matter how racist the person is, they'll pretty much always find a reason. I've got a Black friend, we've all heard that kind of stuff. And instead, what I'm trying to do is when I talk to my white friends about the prejudice, the prejudgments that they're making in their lives and their hearts that are actually negatively affecting other people. Because while you might not consider yourself a racist, and I'm talking to my white community here, but when you might not consider yourself a racist, you probably have prejudgments that might be negatively affecting people. And so, I don't know, that's at least one of the ways I think we can turn the conversation to a way that is people are a little bit more receptive to have white awareness.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something going on. This is what I've said to my white friends. Maybe there's something going on in the community of inner city and people of color that you're not aware of. Is that possible? That there's some things that you're not aware of? And you should go, well, yeah, probably. Okay, maybe we should listen. That's what I've been saying.
And I would also say one final thing, if we can, on this. It's, as we go to churches, I'm also a Christian too, and I think we have to put ourselves in uncomfortable situations. And it's not comfortable to talk about race. The truth is, I think there are some people that are well-meaning, but just don't want to have the conversation because it's too difficult. So, but that leads to indifference. And as Dr. King said, indifference is the biggest threat to injustice. It's not the people that are, it's obviously tragic what happened to Ahmaud Arbery, but the point is the conditions and the environment and the microaggressions that created the condition where that could happen, the system where you don't even have a charge. This was on tape, this was known, and the fact that this could go on tells you that this goes on a lot more often and people accept it because of indifference. So I think we have to put ourselves in these uncomfortable situations as Christians. So I admire what you're doing. I say keep putting yourself in uncomfortable situations.
Well, and I think what it requires, I think it requires white people like Richard to go talk to white people.
Absolutely.
I think because the reality is, Richard, and look, the reality is there are things that you have heard in conversations your whole life that no Black people were present. And what it requires is somebody white at that moment saying, hold up, what do you mean by that? Explain that. Why is that your view? What you got? And that's the piece. That's the thing that it requires. You need white people in white places, in white spaces, challenging other white people on exactly what you talked about.
There was this moment that I listened to an audio tape about Breonna Taylor, and it was sent to me only because I'm now part of this community and been open and welcomed into these conversations. So I wouldn't have known about this. Like I wouldn't have, Breonna Taylor, I probably would have never heard her name. And there was this moment when I was listening to this very emotional tape and thinking, this isn't comfortable. I'd rather not look at this. And then I thought, I actually could not look at this. And my follow-up thought was, what a shame that would be if I decided to choose to take a blind eye to hurt and injustice that was happening throughout this country just because I could. That's the thing that we need to fight with the white community for, in my community, that I need to fight. I'll say that, because that's my part that I can hopefully play, is to say, I know we could put a blind eye to this, but that's not what we meant by color blindness, is that we're blind to injustice. That's not what we want. We want white awareness.
Richard, you make a great point. Sir, we appreciate it. Thank you so very much for doing that video. And hopefully there are people who are going to be paying attention and will be listening to what you have to say and having those very difficult but critically important conversations.
I thank the real warriors like you guys who are fighting this fight every day. I'm just grateful that I was able to make an impact, even a small one.
All right, then. Thanks a lot, sir.
God bless.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment. This is the Ceek VR headset created by Mary Spiel, the sister. We had her on the show. Black woman. She actually is the inventor of this particular headset. And so what happens is you just simply place your phone right into here, and then of course close it up, and then go to their website and then their app, and you can actually experience the comedy showcase. And so they have these headsets, these VR headsets, on their site Ceek.com for sale. Then also they have these 4D 360-degree headphones. First of all, I love the two stuff because they're in black and old gold, my frat colors. But these are awesome because for gamers, it comes with detachable headset, and again, folks, it gives you 360-degree sound. Amazing sound. If you want to buy these, you have a promo code you can use. This is just for our followers, and it is RMVIP2020. RMVIP2020. Put that promo code in if you want to buy the headphones, buy the VR headset. You get that discount to buy it. They're amazing. So Ceek.com, RMVIP2020. Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video.